What's up, everyone? How are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto was trained by Iron Man and became the Dark Annihilator? If you enjoy, then please like, share, and do comments. Tony Stark sighed as he looked at the kid in front of him. The kid had blonde, spiky hair, had a forehead protector, and wore a ridiculous orange outfit. But these things weren't the qualities he put his attention in. He was more interested in the shredded left arm and right leg. He also had some fracturing in his skull and had severe damage to the heart and part of his right lung. His orange outfit was more red now than orange. Tony sighed again. He really didn't care who this was. It just was that one of his security cameras found him near dead at the bottom of an abyss. This abyss had many sharp rocks that jutted out from the walls. It seemed that he hit some of those rocks on the way down. He hit the floor of the abyss with great speed and broke and fractured many bones. Naruto laid there until Tony had put on his Iron Man suit and picked him up. Now he laid on Tony's examination table in his lab. As on why he had cameras secured around the place was someone convinced him to place some around the elemental countries. How's the kid? Tony turned his head to that particular someone, his friend and teacher. Not so well, Goyeji. He's in critical condition. I put him in stasis for a while, but it won't last. And you cannot repair him like you have done yourself with your power core. Well, of course I can, but my power core holds dangerous power. If it fell into the wrong hands, it could cause chaos. Remember what I told you about the people who used my invention incorrectly. Yamanaka Goyeji nodded. Tony had told him about Obadiah and Whiplash. So what will you do? It's not me, my old friend, it's you. Me, Goyeji examined at Tony's face looking for signs of what he was thinking. What are you planning? You once told me that you had a jutsu that could enter one's heart. Do you think you could search this boy then? Goyeji's eyes widened. That was years ago. I'm surprised you remember, but what you say is true, and if that will save this boy from meeting death, I am willing to help. He walked over to the 13-year-old and put one hand on Boy's forehead. He put his other hand on Boy's chest. He closed his eyes and concentrated. Then he said, Akuma no Horo no Himitsu no Jeijutsu, Yami wa Jibun Jishin o Akaraka Naisuru. Secret art of the wandering demon, darkness, reveal yourself. He opened his eyes and found himself surrounded by darkness. This jutsu shows the darkness in one's heart. If I can't find any light, he will die. Tony won't heal the boy unless the boy will not abuse the power. He slowly and carefully looked around, but all he saw was darkness. It was pitch black. Goyeji darkened as he realized the boy has seen his last day. He got ready to leave this heart and tell Tony the bad news. Then suddenly he was blinded by light. It was so bright, it nearly made him cancel the jutsu. What? How did I miss a light this big? His eyes adjusted and he looked at the source of the illumination. He was surprised to see that there was only one speck of light, but he was certain that all that light was coming from there. Tony waited a few minutes for his friend to fully examine the boy's heart. He heard shuffling and saw that Goyeji was done. Well, Tony asked. Goyeji looked at Tony. He won't abuse the power, at least not like your other adversaries. Tony had a look of confusion on his face. What do you mean? How else could he abuse the power other than what Obadiah and Whiplash have done? Are you saying that he had no light? His old friend shook his head. No, he had one speck. One speck? Goyeji held up a hand before Tony could say anything else. But this speck may be enough. His light is bright, Tony. Tony looked at Goyeji and saw that he was serious. He knew he could trust him. He had taught him the workings of the ninja arts when he came to the elemental countries. He knew more than he knew about this subject, but one speck. I'm not fully convinced. Then why don't you examine him? Come. Tony walked up to the two. Goyeji took Tony's hand and placed it over the boy's heart. As soon as he did, Tony heard many different statements, all with the same voice. It was the boy's voice, he assumed. But it did not hear well for the kid. Why do they hurt me? I didn't do anything. Leave Emmy alone. I should just kill the people who hurt me. I'm going to kill Neji. He was about to ask what Goyeji saw in the kid, but stopped when he heard the faintest of all the statements. I want to protect all my precious people. Tony smiled. That is one bright light indeed. Beep, beep, beep. This was the sound Naruto woke up to. He opened his eyes to see a dark and unfamiliar ceiling. He wondered where he was and how he got here. He remembered what had happened. Iro-Sennin had pushed him off a cliff and into a dark canyon with a lot of sharp rocks. He tried to summon the Kyuubi's chakra, but was interrupted when his arm hit one of the sharp rocks. His arm went numb from the elbow down, but he saw the blood. He knew what had happened. He hit 5 more sharp rocks on the way down. His leg had hit one of these rocks that happened to be pointing up. His leg was stabbed through. Gravity and momentum did the rest as the rock dragged through his leg. When his leg was free, Naruto nearly cried out when he saw that his leg didn't even look like a leg anymore. His arm hit 3 more rocks as he fell and made the arm resemble his leg. The shock of the pain made his body unable to scream in pain, but relief came to him when he passed out. He fell unconscious when he hit the floor. Naruto wanted to see the damage to his limbs, no matter how bad that idea was, but he found himself strapped to the surface he laid on. He struggled against his restrainers. He panicked, thinking he was going to die from blood loss or that someone kidnapped him and was going to kill him. But then he heard an unfamiliar voice say, "Please refrain from moving." Repairs have only been completed as of 5 minutes ago. It sounded like a female's voice, but it sounded odd. "Who's there?" Naruto shakily asked. "Oh, you're up much faster than I expected," said a new voice. This one was a male. He looked at the owner of the voice and saw a man in his 40s that had brown hair and a beard. He wore a simple gray shirt and jeans. Naruto, obviously frightened, asked, "Who are you?" Naruto then heard the same female voice. Name, Tony Stark. Age, 44. Occupation, inventor and owner of Stark Industries, a former weapon manufacturing company. Creator of Iron Man. My name's Tony Stark. I'm the reason you're still alive. Naruto's eyes widened that the new voice told him exactly that, but then hardened a moment later. "Why then am I restrained to this, if I'm supposed to be your patient?" Tony snorted. "To make sure you didn't move during surgery or recovery." Surgery, Tony continued. "Man, but you were messed up. I had to replace your arm and leg and had to put a power core in you. I even had to repair your brain." "My arm, my leg, what does he mean replace? What's a power core? My brain," Naruto growled. "Okay, I had enough. What the hell is going on?" Instead of answering his question, Tony said to what appeared to Naruto as thin air, "JARVIS, release his restraints." Out of nowhere, Naruto heard a voice say, "Are you sure? He should be resting for another 2 hours." Naruto jumped when he heard the new talker as it sounded like it came from everywhere. He also noticed the voice was odd. Just like the female voice he heard earlier. Tony replied to the bodiless voice, "Well, we also calculated that he wouldn't wake for another day, but it seems this kid is special." Understood, releasing restraints now. Naruto felt metal move off his wrists and ankles. He sat up and saw there was a mirror in front of him and yelped in surprise due to what he saw. He saw himself. But his arm, it was thinner than the other, and it seemed to be made of metal with wires sticking out and going back in his metal armor. His leg was the same. He also had a weird glowing circle in the middle of his chest, but what caught his eye was his head. Out of the top of his head on the right side, there was a round, weird-shaped piece of metal sticking out. It was turning too. The pink flesh next to the circle was well visible. "Sorry about that. To fix your brain, since it received some major trauma, I had installed a machine that acts like a brain and a CPU. But not all could fit in your head, and that's why you could see that gear sticking out." Naruto stared at his reflection. Tony thought it would be best to leave him alone before he heard, "I look like a monster." Tony turned around and looked at the boy. He was crying and looking at his arm, then his leg, then at his reflection, and then back to his arm. He then glared with teary eyes and yelled, "Why did you do this to me?" Tony was startled. This wasn't what he had expected. He glared back. "I wanted to help you. I wanted you to live." Naruto got angry at him. "If you wanted to help me, you could have left me to die. That's much better than becoming this abomination." Tony could see that Naruto was fading. He was losing his light. He decided it was time to use his last resort. "Damn, if I knew that the kid would break so easily, I would have put him under a longer stasis and figure out a plan. You know, I didn't even want to save you." Naruto opened his mouth but was cut off by Tony. "I didn't want to save you. I gave you a power that people could use to hurt people, to kill people. I have no idea who the hell you are. You could destroy hundreds of lives in a blink of an eye. But my friend told me that you were worth saving, that you wouldn't abuse that power. He looked into your heart and found a light, a bright light. I had looked at it too, and that was the reason I saved you." What are you talking about? Light, stop screwing around with me." "That light said something to me. It was why I saved you. Do you know what I heard?" Naruto didn't answer. "I heard I want to protect all my precious people." Naruto's eyes widened, both looking at Tony. "Then I knew I could trust you, but you can't protect your precious people when you're dead. Don't you want to protect? Do you want to?" Naruto was silent. He gave no answer, but then Naruto picked up his head and showed that he was still crying. "Oh, of course I do." "Then stop complaining. I not only saved you, but I gave you power some people could only imagine. If you really want to protect, then stand up and fight." Naruto used his human arm and wiped away his tears. Then he looked at Tony. Tony noticed that it was not a face of despair anymore. It was the look of resolve. Tony inwardly sighed. He almost lost the kid. "Good work, Tony. It seems that his light is shining brighter than ever before." "No problem. It's my responsibility now, Goyeji." Naruto looked at the newcomer. He was old, really old. He had gray hair and a beard to match it. It stretched all the way to the ground. He wore black robes with yellow stars and moons patched on. He had many scars on his faces, showing his battle experience. All in all, Naruto could tell that he was a very wise and knowledgeable person, no matter how ridiculous his clothes were. The old man looked at Naruto, and for some reason Naruto felt like he had to show respect. He stood up and bowed. "It's my pleasure to meet you. My name's Uzumaki Naruto." The old man's eyes widened. "You are the Kyuubi Jinchuriki." Naruto put a hand over his mouth. "Another Kyuubi hater that hates me too. Silence." Then, "WHHHHHA." Goyeji burst out laughing. "No wonder I had a hard time modifying your chakra. It had a different feel to them, but I never would have guessed that it was a Biju's chakra interfering. Good thing that I sealed it off, though." Naruto waited a moment to let the words sink in. When they did, Naruto had already rushed across the room to Goyeji and yelled, "What do you mean that you sealed it off?" "Aw man, Iro-Senin just unsealed it for me too." Goyeji chuckled at Naruto's antics. "I did not seal it off completely. Huh. I basically created a seal to act like a gateway. It can open or close depending on what the seal is set on. I can teach you how to change it." Naruto sighed. As he did, his head bent forward. "What's this?" he said as he tapped the power core. "That's what's keeping you alive," said Tony. "It's a power core that I made off a design of an arc reactor." Naruto had a look of confusion on his face. Tony sighed. This was not going to be easy. Goyeji could just enter the mind and see his memories, so it was easy explaining to him. Naruto obviously could not. "An arc reactor acts like a power source," explained Goyeji. "But this could produce enough energy to power your village." Naruto's eyes bugged out. Konoha was huge in his opinion, and to power it was beyond his comprehension. "So this was the power you talked about?" asked Naruto. Instead of answering the question, Tony waved Naruto toward him. "Come with me." They walked into a huge room. Naruto thought it was bigger than the forest of death he had to stay 5 days in. The three males walked to a wall that was strange to Naruto. It wasn't flat, but the surrounding wall was. It was flat, then it came out as a curve, and then returned to be flat. Tony walked up next to the curve and touched the wall with his entire hand. A blue horizontal line moved vertically up and down. Then a small part of the wall moved back to reveal a keypad. Tony punched in some numbers that Naruto couldn't see. The air was filled by the sound of hissing. "It sounds like a silent fart, thought you know who." No, it wasn't Naruto, it was Goyeji. A line split the curve in half. Naruto's jaw dropped. What technique did he do? Was it a jutsu? No, all I saw was he pressed some numbers. The doors created by the split moved away, revealing the contents inside. Naruto stared and stared and stared. His face broke into a huge grin and his eyes were filled with stars. "That's the coolest thing I ever seen." A red and gold suit stood there. It was made for battle, Naruto assumed. He imagined going into a war with that on. "I would be so badass, right? What is this?" Naruto asked enthusiastically. "It's a suit I made called Iron Man." "Iron Man? Man, the name sucks." "But didn't that voice say something about Iron Man before?" Tony nodded. "This is a finished product. The original was destroyed by me when a certain person used it for his own gain." "I wonder who that was. Why would he destroy it anyways? It's just armor, right? How could he use it for his own gain?" Tony grinned. "I was hoping you would ask." He stepped into the armor. JARVIS equip armor. Again, as it seemed to come from everywhere, Naruto heard, "Yes, of course, Master Tony." Metal arms came down from the ceiling. They all had drills or claws. The arms grabbed the armor and put it on Tony. When two interconnecting pieces were attached, the drill arms screwed them in. Naruto's eyes were still filled with stars. "But I asked how you could abuse it." The suit lifted up an arm. Naruto jumped a bit when Goyeji put his hand on his shoulder and dragged him away to the left. He let go of Naruto when they got away far enough to avoid casualties but close enough to see Iron Man. The bodiless voice spoke. "Thrust power at 40%, firing." What Naruto saw next made his jaw hit the ground. A beam of light, at least Naruto thought it was, shot from the suit's palm and hit a target across the room. Boom. The target was no longer standing where Naruto last saw it. It was now embedded into the wall. Naruto gulped. My questions answered. Note to self, don't piss off Tony-san. That's not all. This suit has tons of hidden armaments, all with destructive capabilities. Naruto stood calm and listened while inside he was jumping around in excitement in seeing the power it generated. Wait, power. Hey, Tony, how did your suit do that? Where's the power coming from? I just saw the insides of the suit and didn't see a battery or anything. Tony pointed at Naruto's chest. Think, what did we just discuss about that? Naruto looked at where he was pointing and saw the power core. Oh yeah, this thing was based off in what was it called? Arm Reactorium. No Art Keekter, no Oh, who cares? The original could power the entire village, so that's what's powering Iron Man. Then he realized something. Naruto has a power core. Do I get a suit too? Naruto was trying not to jump around as much as he could no matter how excited he was. Eager, are we? Come. I don't have your suit, but we can make it now. Let's talk about design. Goyaji, you come too. I might need ninja expert help. Naruto happily and enthusiastically followed Tony. Goyaji sighed. This was not how he wanted to spend his day. He walked with the rest into the next room. Sarutobi watched the stadium. It was packed with spectators from all over the elemental countries. In the arena stood today's competitors. But two were missing, Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke. The Uchiha was the one he cared about. He was worried about Naruto, or more specifically, what he had to tell everyone including Naruto's friends on what had happened to Naruto. Flashback. Jiraiya hit the wall opposite of the old leader. They were in the Hokage's office. You killed him. Jiraiya stepped out of the crater he created with his body. I had thought that he would summon the Kyuubi's chakra and summon a toad big enough to save him. How did I know that he would hit one of the rocks as he fell? The pervert shut up as Sarutobi gave him the coldest glare he had ever seen. He had messed with the god of Shinobi's surrogate grandson, and he could tell he wasn't going to get off easy. But instead of the harsh punishment he had expected, Sarutobi remained silent. Then he spoke. Leave my office now. I will decide what will happen to you afterwards for killing a fellow Konoha shinobi. But what will you tell the people? I don't know, just leave. Now. Jiraiya nodded and left out the door instead of the usual window. Sarutobi stayed still for a few minutes. Then when he was sure no one could hear him, he broke out crying, mourning the death of one of his lived ones. Flashback end. Sarutobi had finished mourning and decided that it was best to tell everyone at the beginning of the exam. Hokage-sama, sir. Sarutobi was brought out of his thoughts and looked at the one calling him. It was one of the jounin of his village. Hokage-sama, we're ready to start. Sarutobi nodded and stood up, ready to announce the start of the exam and give the melancholy news. In the stands 5 minutes before. Hey Ino, can you see Naruto anywhere? No, I can't, Sakura, but Sasuke-kun isn't here either. Are they training together? I hope so, the pink-haired girl wished. She had short bubblegum pink hair that stopped at her shoulders. She wore a pink dress and green shorts. She wore her forehead protector on top of her head like a headband. Don't worry. If they're together, then they can't fail, especially if Sasuke-kun is with Naruto, said the blonde-hair girl. This girl was wearing casual clothes. She wore an orange outfit and had her hair, or what she had left after she cut the ponytail off, tied in a bun. She wore her forehead protector on her waist like a belt. In another part of the stands, a blue-haired girl wearing casual blue clothes sat in her seat, worried for a certain spiky blonde-haired kid. Naruto-kun, where are you? I didn't see him all this month. I hope nothing happened. She jumped when Kiba spoke. Hey, where's the orange idiot? It's not like him to skip out of a fight, and even more not like him to break a promise, right, Hinata? The blue-haired girl named Hinata nodded. She looked at her teammate and saw that Akamaru was on top of his head like usual. Kiba had beast-like eyes and red tattoos due to him being a Inuzuka. He wore a gray jacket with a hood that was not on right now and dark pants. The dog called Akamaru barked in agreement to Kiba's question. All conversation and thinking was interrupted by the sound of the Hokage's voice. Good people of the elemental countries and hidden villages, welcome to the final part of the Chunin exams. We have our competitors ready to fight, and they are eager to earn the title of Chunin. But before we start the first match, I have an announcement. Everyone started to whisper. They wondered what this announcement was. The people of Konoha were confused. They did not hear anything about this. I am sad to inform you people of this, but I must as the Hokage. We have lost 2 of our competitors to the hands of death, Kinchira Dasu and... Everyone leaned forward to listen, but Sakura Heart nearly stopped. Except for that mummy guy, there were 2 people that were missing, and they were both her teammates. Uzumaki Naruto. Sarutobi finished. The reaction was instant. There was silence from the people from other villages, but from the people of Konoha, the demon is dead. H-A-H-A-H-A. All of the people who had hunted down Naruto over the years cheered. At least they did until the guy who started it was hit by a kunai. Everyone looked at the cold eyes of the Hokage. Even though Naruto is dead, the law is still active. He didn't want anyone from other villages to know about the Kyuubi. Then would the referee start the match? We have lost two of our competitors to the hands of death, Kinshura Dasu and Uzumaki Naruto. Sakura had her hand on her mouth. Tears were spilling over her eyes. She didn't really like Naruto that much, but he had gotten to her. His enthusiastic behavior put everyone in good terms with him. Ino was crying too. She had been affected by Naruto also. But Hinata was bawling her eyes out. It got so bad that her heart condition, due of her fight with Neji, started back up and she started to cough. Kiba was sad, but he would be lying to say that he wasn't angry. He knew Naruto and knew that he wasn't the type to die by accident. He was clumsy, but not that clumsy. He patted Hinata on her back to try and lessen her coughing. There was one genin happy to hear the news. Hyuga Neji smiled. I told him that fate would let me win. He didn't listen and got his due. Next match, Uchiha Sasuke versus Sabaku no Gaara. The emotionless Gaara and the pissed Sasuke got on the arena. Sasuke, when he heard the news, got angry. Naruto was one of the people he wanted to fight. How dare he go and die in the stands? Rock Lee and his sensei had also heard the sad news. They were unlike themselves. Guy looked up at the sky and said, "What an unyouthful day, Kakashi." The one-eyed Jounin gave no answer. He was too busy blaming himself. If I had taken Naruto with me, this wouldn't have happened. Everyone had stopped crying and calmed down, but many of the Orange Ninja's friends had a sad look on their faces. Their depressing thoughts were interrupted by the sound of chirping birds. Everyone looked at the arena and saw that Gaara had created a dome of sand around him, and Sasuke was rushing toward him with what seemed to be lightning in his hands. Guy's eyes widened. Kakashi, you didn't. Kakashi gave a sad nod. Sasuke need a move that could beat Gaara's sand defense. He had already copied Lee's moves, and we built from there to gain his speed. Sakura's eyes were wide as well. Sensei, what is that? Guy answered for the Cyclops. It's an A-rank assassination move. It's based off of Kakashi's Rakiri, a move that cut through lightning itself. Scream was heard. They looked back at the two ninja and saw that Sasuke was holding his arm. Gaara was holding a bloody shoulder. My blood, it's my blood. Gaara held up a hand and sand grabbed Sasuke's legs. Sasuke struggled, but the sand was too strong. The sand engulfed him until he was up to his shoulders in sand. Am I going to die? Will I never avenge my clan? My clan. What will they say when I get up there? What will I say? Sasuke closed his eyes and waited for the impending doom. Then he heard it. Thrust power at 20%. Firing. Sasuke heard a boom. No longer than a second later, Sasuke shot out of the sand and onto the ground. His arm hurt a little bit since he landed on it, but other than that, he was unscathed. He tried to stand up but couldn't find the energy too. The shock from the explosion and the landing has jarred him. Sasuke felt a hand on his shoulder. He looked up to see the person and started to tremble. This newcomer was wearing all black. He wore a black coat that was long enough to reach the ground. Imagine Organization XIV's black coats, but this one is open. Sasuke looked at what was exposed by the coat and saw a black plate protecting the chest of the newcomer. In the middle, he saw a light that was tinted reddish-black like mixing blood and ink together. He also saw that his shoes were made of metal and looked very thick. Note to self, don't get kicked by this guy. He looked higher and saw that metal also encased that calves of the newcomer. He noticed that his hands were covered in metal and where the knuckles were, there was a black cloth. Actually, everywhere without metal was covered in black cloth. But then Sasuke looked at the newcomer's face. It wasn't a face. It was a helmet, this Sasuke was certain. But it was creepy. The top of the helmet was covered by the black hood of the coat. The eyes, or where it should be, were replaced with one eye. A red, metal eye that existed in the helmet and seemed to be able to move all the way from one side of his head to the other. There were 6 notches on the side of his helmet, 3 on each side. Each had a tube inside that looked like a breathing apparatus. Sasuke was about to ask who he was but stopped when he heard something he never thought he would hear before in a metallic voice. Got your ass kicked pretty well, didn't you, team? Sasuke's eyes widened. Only one person called him that. Naruto. Sasuke felt a hand on his shoulder. He looked up to see the person and started to tremble. Sasuke was about to ask who he was but stopped when he heard something he never thought he would hear before in a metallic voice. Got your ass kicked pretty well, didn't you, team? Sasuke's eyes widened. Only one person called him that. Naruto. Flashback 1 week and 3 days ago. Well, let's have the design finished with that, said the tired Tony. But why does my suit look so under-armored? Well, Goyaji told me that ninjas travel by jumping across trees, right? It's just tree jumping, Tony-san. First, drop the sand. Second, if I made it like my Iron Man suit, you would break every branch you stepped on since it's so heavy. Then how do you get around? I fly. You fly, and you can't do this to my suit, why? Naruto, flying makes tons of noise. You would attract every single enemy ninja in a 5-mile radius with just hovering. Sigh, fine, what now? Tony grinned. Now the fun part, we color it. Naruto looked at the hologram displaying his armor and gave a huge grin. Black. Naruto and Tony looked at Goyaji. Make it black, all of it. That way it can have some stealth. Oh, but that's boring, said Naruto and Tony. Well, what do you want? Boring or to be kunite everywhere you go. Naruto's and Tony's head sunk. All right, they said in a melancholy fashion. Tony looked at the hologram. JARVIS, make it all black for stealth. The metallic voice that came from everywhere said, Stealth, something you are a master at with your red and gold. The suit colored black. Tony looked at it and shook his head. No, that's too boring. Put a visor over the power core and make it red-black. Of course, Master Tony. That won't bring attention. That's very stealthy. Tony, be warned. Red isn't a color that's natural. It's not the stealthiest color. Warned Goyaji. What's the worst that could happen? Flashback end. Naruto. In the stands, everyone heard Sasuke call out the stranger's name. Silence. Get out of here, demon. How dare you come back from the dead? Leave the Uchiha alone. He was doing fine until you showed up. In the arena, Naruto scoffed at the spectators. Blind, deaf, and stupid, all of them are. Looks like they don't want to accept the fact that I just saved your gay behind. Naruto removed his hand from Sasuke's shoulder and helped the Avenger up. Thanks. Inside the helmet, Naruto's eyes widened. Did you just say the T word? Sasuke scoffed at him. What? I say thanks sometimes, and I'm not gay. Naruto was about to retort but was interrupted. It came from the stands, but it wasn't like the other voices. Naruto, you bastard, you made Hinata cry pretending to be dead and all. Okay, maybe it was a bit. Naruto looked up at the source and saw the person who spoke standing and with his hands cupped in front of his mouth. Well, at least you're here. Now go kick Gaara's ass. In the stands, Sakura was speechless. She was staring at the Naruto. She looked over and saw Ino was doing the same. Then Ino spoke with a laugh. Well, that kind of explains why he was late. He went shopping and got rid of that hideous orange outfit. Ino laughed again, but Sakura knew better. She knew that her best friend was making excuses to explain the new Naruto. She knew that, like herself, Ino didn't want to really know what really happened to Naruto. Kiba yelled again, What are you doing just standing there? Go fight already. Right, Hinata. Hinata, what's wrong? When the blue-haired girl heard Sasuke call out Naruto's name, she nearly fainted from the extreme relief and joy she felt. She was so happy that she started crying. Kiba asked again, Hinata, are you okay? He then looked back at the arena. Look, you made her cry again, you heartless bastard. Kiba-kun, please stop. I'm not sad. I'm really happy. I'm just really relieved that Naruto-kun's alive. Kiba looked at her, then smiled. Well, if you're so happy, you should cheer for Naruto, right? Hinata nodded and wiped away her tears. She summoned the courage to cheer for Naruto and yelled, Naruto-kun, please do your best. In the arena, Sasuke was smiling. See, not everyone hates you. Better to be hated than to be gay. I told you I'm not. What are you? The two members of Team 7 looked at the sand controller. Gaara had a look of confusion on his face. Mother says that you emit a dangerous energy that she has never felt before. She is scared of you, Uzumaki Naruto. She screams for your blood. Naruto examined the bloody shoulder of Gaara. Makes it easier for me, but from what I've seen, it's best to stay away from this guy. Your mother sounds like a nice person. Naruto said sarcastically as he slowly stuck his hand toward Gaara. Let me say hello, thrust power at 60%, firing. Naruto shot the charge at the sand Jinchuriki, who already had his sand shield up. Futile. Mother's sand is IMPNTRABLE. The charge hit the sand shield and blew right through it. The charge then hit Gaara and sent him skidding across the arena floor. When he stopped moving, Gaara looked at his shoulder and saw bones sticking out. What are you? Uzumaki Naruto, the Dark Annihilator. Name, Uzumaki Naruto. Age 13. Occupation, genin of the hidden village of Konoha. Wielder of the Dark Annihilator suit. Thanks CECI, but I really don't need information about myself. CECI stood for Charka Electric Converter Intelligence. Naruto wanted the name to be as close as it could be to a girl's name, and this was it. But thrust power at 60% only made his bones snap on a wounded shoulder. That sand is tough. What should I do? Naruto thought and thought. Then he realized that there was someone who hurt Gaara before. Sasuke, how do you beat this guy? Well, Kakashi-sensei told me that the Charka affinity of lightning could beat his sand. Lightning, so I need to fight close range, do I? The Iron Man suit was a long-range fighting armor because everyone in Tony's world had guns. But Goyeji quickly pointed out that Naruto would need some close-range moves in his arsenal. Flashback, 1 week and 1 day ago. Tony had just heard Goyeji's suggestion. I see your point. Naruto would be helpless against another close-range attack. There was an awkward silence as Tony thought for ideas. Naruto was used to the awkwardness that constantly poked its head out when he was with Tony. Tony snapped his fingers as he said, I think I've got it. I don't really know a lot of the ninja world, less about fighting close range. But I do have some games that could help me get ideas, particularly one. Goyeji's eyes widened. You don't mean? Tony nodded as he said, Mortal Kombat. They both went to set up the system and game. Naruto ridiculed them. How could a game help us now? What is Mortal Kombat anyways? What are you doing? Naruto stopped and couldn't finish as his jaw was hanging loose, making his mouth gape open. What is that? Tony looked up from the finished setup and looked at Naruto confused. You don't know what a TV is. I mean, I saw something similar. We used it to display the names of the matches in the preliminary rounds. Tony blinked, then he leaned toward Goyeji and whispered, How far back technologically is the elemental countries? Goyeji whispered back, You would be surprised. Tony sighed. This was going to be harder than he thought. Well, I can't leave this deprived child to not know TV and video games. Come, let's play. They played Mortal Kombat all day. At the end of the day, all their eyes were bloodshot and their fingers sore. No one spoke for a while after they finished, as the two older men wanted the awesomeness to sink in Naruto's mind. After a minute, Tony said, Well, as you just saw, there are a lot of different ideas floating around in this game. Naruto nodded, still staring at the TV. So which close range do you want in your arsenal? Naruto blinked the tired tears away from his eyes and looked at Tony. I can choose. The inventor shrugged. Why not? Goyeji laughed. If you let Tony choose, you'll find so many hidden things he forgot to tell you. Naruto thought for a moment. What close range did he want? Naruto suddenly looked up at Tony and grinned. If I needed to choose one, I would choose. Flashback end. TARKATANSBLADES. Out of the coat's arms, unseen from the outside world, 2 blades popped out of the armor on his hands and forearms. Then he yelled, Electromodify. The blades sparked as blue electricity ran through them. Goyeji had suggested to allow the Dark Annihilator different elements. Unfortunately, Naruto only had lightning. The technology of Stark Industries couldn't control neither water, earth, nor air. The suit couldn't control fire either, because Tony had firmly decided that Naruto would not use fire until he had proper training on how to use a flamethrower. There were still scorch marks all over the walls and floors. Sasuke looked at Naruto's new weapons. Huh! When did you become a weapons user? Without his gaze leaving Gaara, he said, The same time Kakashi left me for you to train. Sasuke widened his eyes. He didn't know this. Why didn't Kakashi take Naruto with him? Naruto saw that Gaara had seen the blades and created another sand shield. CECI, increase power output in leg armor. In the female voice he heard that first day, it responded, Master, you wish to increase the speed of the armor. Precisely. There was a 3-second silence, then, understood. Directing power output of 5% from arc reactor to legs, increasing leg speed 70%. Good, let's do this. Naruto stared at one single point on the shield. The part Gaara's shoulders were behind. He rushed toward the shield with tons of speed that it seemed he was a blur. He stuck his arms out toward his targets and rammed the blades into the shield. Sasuke was right. Lightning was its weakness. The blades were completely in, and Naruto was so close that he could touch the sand. But the sand didn't come after him. No, the sand, after being suspended for a few more seconds, dropped to the ground, revealing a Gaara with the blades in his shoulders. His mouth gaped open, and he spazzed as the electricity coursed through this body to his legs to the ground. Naruto remembered one downside of the electro-modified blades. Remember, the person that you're attacking must touch the ground at all times when you use electro-modify. If you don't, not only will the person die since the electricity will not leave him, but as soon as the lightning of your blades stop, the electricity will come back to you through your blades. He quickly turned off the electricity and removed the blades. Gaara stood there like a statue. Naruto thought he was too shocked to move. But Naruto does not know how shocking someone works, so two people knew that something was wrong. In the lab. Tony, something's wrong. I can see that myself, Goyaji. JARVIS, connect to the Dark Annihilation suit and open a private channel. Back in the arena. Naruto walked away from the frozen Gaara. He halted. He could hear static. Master, Tony Stark wants to communicate with you. Fine, open the channel, CECI. Naruto, Tony yelled. Naruto, when someone gets shocked, they don't stand like that. Why are you watching me right now, Tony? Naruto, listen. Usually when people are tased, they collapse. Collapse? Naruto's eyes widened as he realized the problem. He turned around and saw Gaara with his arm pointing at him. Naruto was about to run at him with his Tarkatan's blades, but found his arm unable to move. He looked down and saw the sand grabbing his arm. He looked back at the sand Jinchuriki, who had a creepy grin. Sand coffin. Naruto felt his arm get crushed as the sand got a tighter hold of him. He tried to pull away but found it futile. It didn't matter. It was too late. Sand burial. Sasuke knew what was coming. This happened to Rock Lee. No, Naruto. He rushed toward his teammate but was too late. Crunch. Naruto's arm. Shit, if I had been faster, now Naruto can't be a ninja. He looked at Naruto's arm, melancholy, and wait. That's not blood, it's not even flesh. Naruto's arm was gone, but when the sand left it, wires and sparks were revealed. Naruto looked at his gone arm, then to Gaara, then back to his arm. Hot damn, you took my arm off. Oh well. Oi Sasuke, if you want to help, now is the time. Distract Gaara. I need to repair my arm. Sasuke still stared at Naruto's sparking arm. Naruto, what happened to you? Shit happened, now go. Sasuke shook himself out of his gaze and ran toward the sand Jinchuriki. Katen Gaokakyu no Jutsu. The Uchiha shot a huge fireball at Gaara. The sand moved in and protected him. Sasuke made another Chidori and toward Gaara, but before he reached him, Sasuke fell to the floor. He looked back and saw his foot caught by the sand. What is that light? During this time, Naruto had stuck his arm out. Naruto had predicted this kind of situation before and had countermeasures. Flashback, 1 week and 2 days ago. But what if my mechanical arm or leg gets destroyed? Naruto asked the two men. Another awkward silence. Well, I guess you're screwed, said Tony. What? Well, what do you do when your suit's damaged? I bring it back here to repair it. With the current technology, I could fix a broken mechanical arm or leg in about 30 seconds. But you would have to be here. Oh, well, fine. I'll just figure out something when I get to my match. Goyaji was hard in thought. Naruto made an excellent point, and it was a problem that need to be fixed right away. Hey, when is your match anyways? Asked Tony. Well, when I was pushed off that cliff, I still had 2 weeks left. So you only have a week and 2 days left. What? I only have that much time left. How will I learn to use my suit by then? How far away is this place from Konoha? How long will it take to get back there? Hold on to those questions, Naruto. Let me answer them one by one. First, the suit is easy to control, since you have an AI in you. What? AI, artificial intelligence. Didn't you ever hear a voice that you don't recognize but can't find the person who said it? That's the AI. That girl's voice was the AI. Girl, the program usually adapts to the person's personality and memories. It seems someone from his present or past is influencing him. Yes, I guess. Second, this place is about 9,000 miles from Konoha. WHAAATTTTT. WTF. How the hell did I get here so fast then if it's been only 4 days since I fell? I must have been here 2 days already. Right, sorry. I forget that ninjas don't have this yet. Portals. After seeing Naruto's blank look, Tony elaborated. Portals are like doors but with much greater distance. I have a portal gate near Konoha. Goyaji shouted. Aha, that's it. That's how you can fix a broken mechanical arm. Portals. You could have a portable one with you when you go there. That's a great idea, right, Tony? Goyaji, what kind of technology do you think I have? The level of a portable portal is beyond my level. I can't make it so he can summon a portal wherever he goes. Goyaji had a look of thought on his face. Maybe you can with some ninjutsu. Flashback end. Naruto made 5 seals with one hand. He placed his palm on the ground and yelled, Kyuchios Jutsu Portal. A seal appeared on the ground. It was a common summoning seal, but Naruto moved his hand away quickly as if it was burning. The middle of the seal glowed white. It was a light that grabbed everyone's attention, even Gaara and Sasuke. The light cracked and broke through like an illuminating glass. Inside, it revealed a tunnel of blue data. But only Naruto knew that. 3 mechanical arms came out of the portal with claws and drills as appendages. Naruto stuck out his gone arm and the arms went to work. Everyone in and out of the arena went wide-eyed. No one could see anything clearly due to the arms, but they could hear the clanking of metal and drilling. The arms stopped working and looked at Naruto. Naruto examined his arm. It was the mechanical one, not the one of the suit. He looked at the arms and said, Good job, Jarvis. Of course, Uzumaki Naruto. The arms sunk back into the portal and the blue tunnel and seal shattered. Naruto looked at the surprised Gaara and Sasuke. I have to be more careful. My suit isn't strong enough to resist that amount of force. In the stands. Sakura and Ino were doing it again. They were staring at Naruto. But this time, Hinata, Kiba, Kakashi, Lee, Guy, and well, just the entire audience were staring at Naruto. Ino looked at Sakura and asked a simple question. You just saw that, right? Sakura didn't say anything and just nodded. She then looked back at Ino. You think he went clothes shopping now? Hinata was frozen, not from surprise. She was overwhelmed by conflicting emotions. First of all, she was still overjoyed that Naruto was alive. But second, she was confused when she just saw his arm crushed. And third, she was horrified that there was no blood but sparks. And fourth, she was relieved that his arm was fixed. Kiba just stared. It was best to keep quiet when these things happen, he decided. Lee and Guy were first surprised and horrified, but when his arm was fixed, they started yelling, Naruto, what youthfulness you are showing. Even when you lose an arm, you still find a way and fight. Which somehow led to Guy-sensei. Lee. Guy-sensei. Lee. Guy-sensei. Lee. Kakashi was horrified, that was all. He knew that if he took Naruto's offer to train him, he wouldn't be like this. Neji was confused. What is this? How could he have greater strength than me? I was supposed to be stronger and beat him. That was fate. And what is with his arm? Why is he defying every single decision made by fate? How could he? In the cage box, Sarutobi could only stare at the new Naruto. What could he say? But the Kazekage was deep in thought. Where is the invasion? Where is Kabuto? Something is not right here. The village should have gone to chaos when Gaara made the sand dome. In the arena. Gaara got his focus back before Naruto attacked and drew back the sand from Sasuke. He added the extra sand to the sand shield and tried to increase its density. Naruto realized he was going to need both arms of the suit to fight Gaara. CECI, can the armor repair itself? Yes, but it doesn't require the energy required. Even if the reactor was at 100%, it would deplete almost all of it. Naruto smirked. You forget CECI, there's a reason for your name. You can convert chakra. CECI, convert all chakra gathered into energy. Naruto used his human arm and made the ram seal. He focused and drew all the chakra he could muster. Sasuke was blown back. He has never seen this much chakra in one person. It was overwhelming. Every time Sasuke saw a new weapon or power, he bubbled with anger. This took the cake. Naruto, what did you do to yourself to make you this strong? Naruto saw a gauge on his HUD inside the helmet and saw it fill back up. Then he saw a second gauge appear when the first was filled. Inside the helmet, he heard, power output at 135% capacity, 140%, 150%, 180%, 200%. Both primary and reserve energy levels have been restored, repairing missing arm now. Naruto looked down at his arm and saw it start spewing data. Naruto was sure of it. It was binary code, all ones and zeros. The end of the arm glowed blue and the blue spread down to his fingers slowly. The blue suddenly cracked and broke like the portal seal. When Naruto could see what was under the blue, he saw his suit's arm fully fixed. CECI, what did you do? I used the portal seal encrypted on your suit to summon a replacement arm and attach it, configuring new part with suit. Naruto saw the energy level drop when summoning from 200% to 150% and when configuring from 150% to 120%. Whoa, you weren't kidding about the depletion. Wait a minute, you said that there was a portal seal on my suit. Why? Why Yamanaka Goyaji had added the seal? Naruto got a look of annoyance on his face. That old man, I told him not to modify my suit without me knowing it. Danger, oncoming projectile coming north. Naruto looked at the digital compass on his HUD and figured out that it meant it was coming straight at him. He looked up and saw sand shurikens coming his way. I hope the suit can withstand some sharp objects. Naruto rushed toward the shuriken and Gaara. The shuriken bounced off harmlessly off his armor, no matter if it hit the metal or the cloth. Wow, this is pretty sturdy. Of course, it is bulletproof armor. Bulletproof had to learn that the hard way. Flashback 1 week ago. Fine, I guess my suit doesn't need that much armor anyways. Naruto was just arguing with Tony that he didn't care if branches broke. He wanted more metallic armor. Don't worry, the cloth is bulletproof. Bulletproof? What the hell is a bullet? Tony grinned. This was his favorite part. He grabbed a gun and aimed at the spot next to Naruto. Don't move. You'll die if you do. Now watch carefully. This weapon is a gun and can shoot a bullet at high speeds. Hess, don't worry about me, old man. No matter how fast it is, Boom, Naruto's eyes widened. The barrel of the gun was smoking and there was a thundering sound. Naruto shook himself out of his daze and laughed. Where's your bullet? Did it break or something? Tony whirled his fingers, the universal symbol of turn around. Naruto rolled his eyes. What could possibly be There was a round piece of metal embedded into the wall and it was smoking also. His eyes widened and his jaw hit the floor. He looked back at Tony, who was laughing. What were you going to say? No matter how fast it is, Tony laughed hard again, but then his face twisted into a look of terror when he realized the gun wasn't in his hands. No, it was in the hands of a certain genin. So I just point and press this thingy. Tony, instead of telling Naruto to put the gun down, dove to the side. Naruto shot the gun and the bullet went flying, but this bullet was at an angle. So when the bullet hit the wall at that angle, it ricocheted off it and bounced everywhere at high speeds. Naruto dove in the same direction as Tony, who already had the bulletproof cloth in front of him. Needless to say, Tony decided to put no guns in Naruto's suit. Flashback end. Naruto broke out of his thoughts and kept running toward his opponent, who made the sand on the ground rush toward him like a mouse under a carpet. You watch Tom and Jerry. You should know what it looks like. And if you didn't, poor deprived child. Naruto whipped out his Tarkatan's blades. He dug his blades into the ground and vaulted himself over the moving sand. As he got closer, he saw that Gaara had a look he hasn't used in a while, a look of pure terror. What is it, mother? Why do you fear him? What about him makes you so scared? What is it? He stuck his hands out to do another sand coffin, but it was too late. Naruto directed the 20% of his energy, increasing his speed 280%. He disappeared in a black flash and reappeared in front of Gaara. There was a resounding boom when Naruto flashed. That won't work a second time. He swung his left arm across his body that made the blade hit Gaara's chest, creating a deep gash that didn't reach his vital organs. Naruto let the momentum swing him around and used his right blade to slice Gaara's stomach. The gash was like the last, deep, but not too deep. Naruto's momentum from both his arms caused him to twist around, doing a 360. He swung his left arm one last time and slashed Gaara's leg. Then he kicked Gaara's chest with his right foot and sent him flying. He stomped his right leg onto the ground and pointed his right arm at Gaara's head and fired. Thrust power at 10%. Fire. The charge left Naruto's palm and hit Gaara's airborne body, causing him to slam into the ground and skid a good few meters. Naruto breathed heavily and took one deep breath. He then walked up to the fallen sand user. He stopped at Gaara's feet when he heard, "Why?" Naruto looked at Gaara. He looked confused, like a lost sheep. "Why are you so much stronger? What's the difference between you and me?" Naruto crouched down so he and Gaara would somewhat be eye level. "What's the difference?" "Easy, our drive." "Drive?" Naruto nodded. "Drive? Your drive is to kill people to prove your existence, but mine is different, and that is why I'm stronger." "What is yours then? Please tell me why you are stronger." "My drive is to protect the ones I love. I won't allow anyone to harm my precious people." "Precious people?" "This is something that I learned from the Hokage. This is the will of fire of Konoha. It's what makes this village so strong. Anyone could have it, even you." Gaara looked away as if in shame. But I don't have any precious people. My father and siblings hate me and I don't have friends. Then how about me? Gaara looked up wide-eyed at the masked genin. You, Naruto nodded. I can be your friend. Gaara stared wide-eyed. Then for the first time since Yashimaru died, Gaara cried. Naruto inside the helmet gave a small smile. He helped Gaara up from the ground. The referee had decided that Gaara had lost, so he announced, Gaara can no longer battle. In this case, Uchiha Sasuke would win, but since Uzumaki Naruto interfered, Uchiha Sasuke is disqualified. But Naruto wasn't listening. He looked up at the cage box and yelled, It looks like your plan failed. I have all your subordinates here. Naruto summoned 5 portal seals and 5 bodies flew out. There was Teuya, Jirobo, Kidomaru, Saken/Yukin, and Kabuto. You can have them back, Kage-sama, or should I call you by your actual name, Orochimaru? The referee had decided that Gaara had lost, so he announced, Gaara can no longer battle. In this case, Uchiha Sasuke would win, but since Uzumaki Naruto interfered, Uchiha Sasuke is disqualified. But Naruto wasn't listening. He looked up at the cage box and yelled, It looks like your plan failed. I have all your subordinates here. Naruto summoned 5 portal seals and 5 bodies flew out. There was Teuya, Jirobo, Kidomaru, Saken/Yukin, and Kabuto. You can have them back, Kage-sama, or should I call you by your actual name, Orochimaru? 4 hours earlier. The forest of Konoha was silent. Not a thing made a sound, which created the problem. Konoha was the hidden village of the leaf, emphasis on leaf. There was supposed to be wildlife around doing their own business, but all the animals were afraid. They didn't want to meet the newcomers that had intruded into their forest. The Sound Ninja army was crouching mutely. They were waiting for the signal, which was the genjutsu, to invade the village. They watched with determination. This was the day that their Otakage would lead their village to victory. The still air broke with a yell, Invaders! Every ninja stood up and took out a kunai. They had the ninja in the back turn around to do a 360 search, but there were no sign of any attack. The ninja exhaled a tense breath. They could not be found out. The leader of the army looked toward the source of the yell and shouted, Who was it that alerted everyone? Bring him here immediately. 2 sound ninjas dragged another by his arms. They threw him in front of the leader. The leader commanded the 2 to execute him. We cannot have any failures if we are to help Orochimaru-sama. Kill him quietly. The poor man started to blubber, trying to make a defense for himself. But I saw, there was this one. A light. My team has all been killed. How could we ignore that fact? Enough. The leader shouted, We will not have any more of your nonsense. Kill him no what? What is this? The entire floor that the army stood upon glowed white. One of the ninjas reached out to touch it. It feels tingly. What could this be? See crack. The point where the Sound Ninja touched the white glow, a crack appeared. This crack spread throughout the entire white glow and shattered it, revealing a blue tunnel made of an unknown substance. The entire army fell through, people and trees and all. The leader, Fujit Aiki, landed hard on his feet. He looked back to his army and saw that everyone was unharmed and okay. Well, except the guy that yelled intruder. He was shaking and pointing at something. Fujit looked around and saw a cave of metal with different metal contraptions hanging down from the ceiling. Where am I? You're in my base. I'd welcome you as a guest, but it seems you have malicious intents. The guy who was trembling and pointing started to scream. Fujit followed the finger and saw what made this guy afraid. He saw 3 dead bodies, crushed, scorched, and are twisted beyond cruelty. He looked up and saw a man with red gold armor standing above them with his arms crossed. Next to him, an old man in odd clothes stood bored. What did you do to my men? I'm going to kill you. Fujit jumped up and raised his kunai. The man in the armor laughed. You kill me. He lifted up his hand at the leader and said, 2 hours earlier. Shut up, you fat bastard. The red-headed Kunoichi whispered to the large ninja. Jirobo's eye twitched. He was always the target of Teuya's foul mouth. Teuya, enough, said Saken. We can't let anyone discover us until Orochimaru-sama has initiated the battle with the Hokage. The Sound Four were hidden in a building next to the stadium. The top floor window had a perfect ant's eye view of the cage box. They watched anxiously, knowing that they could not fail Orochimaru. They had to perform the Shishi and Jin to make sure no one interfered. Man, why do we need to be stuck with these kinds of jobs? Why don't some genin do this? Said the 6-armed man. Kidomaru, you know exactly why. We are the only ones capable of protecting Orochimaru-sama, said Saken. Kidomaru, annoyed, spit at the ground. I know that. But I'm itching for a fight. Then why don't you fight me? Said a new voice. The Sound Four whipped around and got into their battle stances. "Who are you?" asked Sakin, the Dark Annihilator. Teuya ridiculed, trying to be cool. "You ain't even worthy of wiping my ass, you piece of shit." The stranger shook his head. "What a foul mouth you have. Are you sure you're a girl?" Teuya snapped at the question. "Sakin, this bastard is mine." The man nodded. "Fine, but don't get too arrogant. We have no idea what he's capable of." Teuya smirked as she looked back at Sakin. "We are the strongest ninjas in Orochimaru's service. Do you really think he could defeat us, Ak?" The stranger picked up Teuya by her throat. He spoke. "Allow me to answer that for you." His palm that was against her neck glowed. "Yes. 30 minutes earlier." "Sasuke is still impressing me," said the disguised Kabuto, the right-hand man of Orochimaru, "but it seems that I will have to start the invasion soon." But then, what? He was stabbed through the shoulder by a sharp blade. He looked behind him and saw a red-black circle shining in the shadows. Kabuto felt fear grip him as he saw the dark eyes barely illuminating itself in the dark. Dark Annihilator, fatality. Kabuto felt himself be pulled into the darkness. The last thing he felt before he breathed his last was the pain of his tongue and arms being cut off and the slow insertion of the blade into his heart. 0 minutes earlier. The Kazekage yelled at the bodies that flew out of the portals. "What are you doing? Attack him now." He was furious. How could one person knock out 5 of his best people? But if they were just unconscious, they could. Orochimaru's hopes were dashed as only one body moved, Teuya's. "Don't bother, the 4 of them are dead, but it seems that I can't be completely heartless. Otherwise, she would have shared their fate." He kicked the body of the survivor and sent her flying a few meters. "But don't fret, you'll be joining your precious subordinates soon." Orochimaru laughed. "Even without my forces, I am not weak. You defeat me. Ha. The cage box exploded with smoke and there was a crash. Orochimaru ditched his outfit and grabbed the Hokage. He then jumped through the ceiling of the box and stepped onto the roof, releasing Sarutobi. Naruto gathered an enormous amount of chakra in his human left leg. He leaned on it and jumped up to the roof, creating a crater. He landed on both feet and pointed his right human arm toward Orochimaru, who laughed again at the genin. "Do you really think you can defeat me all by yourself?" Naruto shook his head. "A little too confident, are we?" Orochimaru's eyes squinched. "What?" "Let me tell you a story. Kabuto died without his tongue or arms. I killed him personally, but that was 30 minutes before I helped Sasuke. So what do you think I did?" "You killed Kabuto? What a ridiculous story. How could a genin like you kill him? But I'll humor you. What did you do?" "I strategized." Wah, there was no time for the snake to finish his question. 4 ANBUs came down and stuck their swords into each of Orochimaru's limbs, pinning him to the roof. "I used that time to talk with some ANBU and made a plan. See, I know that you truly resemble a snake. You are crafty and sly. So I decided that the best way to defeat you is to kill you with one shot." Orochimaru's eyes widened as Naruto began to build power. "Wah, what is this energy? This is not chakra, and why is it being concentrated at his chest?" "Arc reactor blast, charging, using 90% of total energy in attack." "Thanks CECI. How much energy do I need to move this suit?" "At least 5%. "Good." Naruto felt the power rising in his chest. As the energy rose in his power core, he slowly brought his arms to his shoulders so his elbows would cross. 50%. 42%. Orochimaru felt the amount of power rising and began to panic. "I can't let a shot like that hit me. Get off. Release ME." Orochimaru opened his mouth and Kusanagi flew out of his mouth. Naruto was about to yell to CECI to stop charging when a wall of sand appeared in front of him. He looked at his right and saw Gaara floating on sand. "Thanks, but there was no need. I heal fast. But I want to protect my friends. I don't want them harmed." This brought a small smile to Naruto's face, though no one could see it. Orochimaru started to yell again. "Stop it. I can't die yet. There are too many JUTSUs unmastered, UNEXPERIMENTEDON. 29%. "Well, that's life, you snake bastard. Tell that to the ninjas you killed in the afterlife." 10% firing. Naruto flung his hands to his side and the energy was released. The white energy hit the visor and turned into a red-black color. The charge left the suit and hurtled toward Orochimaru. The ANBU left their swords and shushined away. BOOM. There was a great explosion as smoke and debris flew everywhere. Everyone shielded her eyes, except for Naruto. The smoke eventually cleared and revealed Orochimaru. Sasuke had jumped onto the roof at the moment the explosion stopped and looked at the result of the blast. Sasuke gagged and threw up at the sight of Orochimaru. Orochimaru's legs were completely blown off. His intestines were strewn across the roof like confetti. The blood slowly oozed out of the torso, coloring the roof a dark red. Naruto looked at this with no feelings of disgust or remorse. It seems he's tougher than we thought. He walked over to Orochimaru's head, whose mouth was gaping open due to the shock of the pain. But I should have foreseen this coming. There is truly only one way to kill a snake. CECI, gather 5% of the remaining energy to my left arm and add any chakra I release to it. Orochimaru's eyes filled with terror as he saw the arm of the suit glow blue. No, 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 I can't die yet. I have to regenerate fast, but why won't my body respond? Move, damn it, move. He still couldn't say anything as just watched. To kill a snake, you crush his head. Naruto brought his enhanced fist down onto the forehead of Orochimaru. Boom. A smaller explosion occurred on impact. The smoke covered Naruto's hand and Orochimaru's head. Sasuke had steadied himself from the last gory scene and went back to puking when the smoke went away. The head was completely crushed. The jaw had flown off and was resting near the feet of the ANBU that had helped Naruto. They stumbled for a moment before regaining the composure the ANBU was famous for. The Hokage stood still the entire time, not showing any emotions. But he would be lying if he said he wasn't disgusted and surprised at Naruto's actions toward his former student. He turned a little green when an eyeball with a snake-like pupil rolled past his feet. "Dark Annihilator, fatality," said Naruto. The Hokage watched the people of the council. Naruto stood behind him, waiting with his arms crossed and leaning against the wall. The members of the council were staring at the dark annihilation suit Naruto still had on. They had seen power that never has been recorded in Shinobi's history. Finally, Hayashi asked, "So was this the reason you were late to the match against my nephew?" Naruto shook his head. "No, as I told Orochimaru, I was taking measures against the planned invasion." Hayashi nodded as this was an acceptable answer. "Then let me ask the question that we are all thinking, the question that compelled us to come to this meeting anxiously. What happened to you?" Naruto looked up at the ceiling for a moment. He sighed, then he looked back at the Hyuga head. "I grew up." Hayashi furrowed his eyebrows. "Elaborate." "I saw the world in a different light. I changed from the over-enthusiastic, goofy kid to the serious man I am now." "Yes, but what caused that change is what I'm asking." Rather than answering Hayashi, he said, "CECI, unequipped dark annihilation." A white glow illuminated Naruto's power core. It then started to spread out to his arms and legs. When the light reached them, it pulled back quickly into the power core and revealed the human inside. Naruto still had the long trench coat on and removed that as well. Multiple gasps were heard from some of the members of the council as they saw all of Naruto, power core and all. Naruto started, "When I was training with Iro Sennin, he pushed me off a cliff to make me learn how to use the Kyuubi's chakra." Some of the council members nodded. They had a feeling on who this Iro Sennin could be and knew that he was capable. "As I fell, I hit multiple rocks with my arm and leg, shredding it to something I couldn't recognize. I hit the ground with terminal velocity. I should have died that day. However, I was found by my friend, healer, and teacher, Tony Stark. He comes from a place where technology had advanced far beyond our imaginations. He had some problems and had invented this." Naruto tapped his power core. "His and mine are needed to keep us alive. It's a reactor, something that can produce energy." He waited for the information to sink in before continuing. "Tony had also replaced my useless arm and leg with these metal substitutes. They are powered by the reactor as well. It also powers the machine in my head that fixed the brain trauma I experienced." Naruto said while pointing at the gear sticking out of his head. Hayashi nodded, "And I would have guessed correctly if I said that your reactor powers your suit too." "Bingo!" One of the members on the civilian council asked. "How could something like that produce that much energy? That's completely preposterous." Naruto looked at speaker. "Naive people should be on the council." The civilian council member stood up enraged. "What did you say to me?" The Hokage held up one hand. "Please sit down, Shuri-san. Let Naruto talk." Shuri hesitated before sitting down and giving a glare at Naruto. Naruto continued, "The device this reactor is based off of could produce enough energy to power all of Konoha." Many gasps were heard as well as snorts of unbelief. Another councilman shouted, "Then give that power to the Uchiha. He should wield that sort of power and not some poor genin." The Hokage had placed his hand on a kunai. That guy was lucky he caught himself before saying the D word. Naruto looked again at the speaker. Stupid people shouldn't be on the council as well. What did you disrespectful? Ninjas should listen to the council and show them proper respect. Correction, ninjas should show the Ninja Council and the Hawkage respect. Civilians cannot interfere in the military operations. You little... Enough, the Hawkage shouted. Naruto is right, though you could be less blunt about it. Naruto shrugged and went back to crossing his arms and leaning against the wall. Sarutobi said, there will be no more talk about taking Naruto's power. It seems that it is keeping him alive, and if anyone here should take it, they will be sentenced to death for trying to kill a ninja. In my opinion, Naruto should be awarded a hero's welcome as well as Chunin rank for showing strategy and power needed. He should also be paid the bounty of Orochimaru. Anyone agree? Some hands on the civilian side rose. Naruto recognized the hands to be the people who had not treated him harshly over the years. Naruto scanned the rest of the civilian council and saw that no more hands would rise. He was about to tell Sarutobi that he didn't need all that, but stopped when he saw the ninja council. All hands were in the air as some of the ninja council members smiled and nodded at him. It seems that Naruto is the hero of the leaf. He will be paid the full price of 600 billion yen, about $7 billion US. Some of the eyes of the civilian council widened at the mention of the pay. None of the ninja council did, though. They knew that Orochimaru had a high bounty on his head. He was a traitor to the leaf and had killed the Kazekage. There was no reason for the bounty to be low. Sarutobi chuckled inwardly as he saw some of the reactions of the council. He heard a crash and turned around to see what had happened. Naruto's eyes widened until it hurt the sides of his face. His jaw literally hit the ground when he heard the price of Orochimaru's head. Some of the ninjas laughed at this spectacle, including the Hawkage. Naruto lifted up a hand slowly and slapped himself hard. Jiji, where would I keep that much money? No, the better question is how the hell would I use that much money? First, you could keep the money in the bank. I'll make an account for you. Second, I'm sure you'll find a way to spend that much money, but first, here. The Hawkage threw a box at Naruto. It was big as a school desk. Naruto caught and opened it. Inside, there was a Chunin vest and 2 scrolls. Those 2 scrolls are from your parents. They wanted me to give this to you when you became a Chunin. Inuzuka Hana raised a hand. Who was his parents, Hokage-sama? Sarutobi looked at Naruto. Naruto, your parents were. The Yondaime, Namikaze Minato, and Uzumaki Kushina, a former ninja of the Whirlpool country. Said Naruto. This time Sarutobi's eyes widened. You knew. How? Tony has a friend that is an expert when it comes to ninja stuff. He knew about my parents and told me. Who is this expert? A really weird old man named Yamanaka Goyaji. Goyaji yelled Yamanaka Inoichi. Naruto looked at the screaming man. Oh yeah, your last name is the same as his. Did you know him? Know him? Of course I did. He was the head clan before me, my father. Naruto put his hand to his chin and thought. He looked at Inoichi and thought of Goyaji's appearance. Nope, don't see the resemblance. Anyways, I'll say hi to him for you. Inoichi sat back down. So that's where the old man went. Not surprised, he was always interested in that kind of stuff. When the council heard that Naruto's father was their precious 4th Hokage, the room went silent. No one talked except the 3 above. When they finished, the room went silent again. I can see the resemblance. It makes sense that Naruto is the son of Minato, said Aburame Shibai. Sarutobi just remembered something. That's right, you were close to Minato, weren't you, Shibai? Shibai nodded, then the famous Inoshikacho trio spoke up. We knew Minato too, said Inoichi. Akimichi Chusa said, don't forget about who introduced Minato to ramen. Nara Shikaku added, it was troublesome to hang around that blonde, but we all had great times. Hayashi decided to join the conversation. I didn't know Namikaze that well, but Kushina was a friend of mine. I can vouch for Naruto's heritage just on the fact that he acted like her before this transformation. The Hawkage raised his hand again. Please, enough. You can have a who was closer to them contest if there are no more questions, then meeting adjourned. The council members all stood up and left except for Hayashi. Hayashi-san, is there something else you would like to say? He nodded. I would like to talk to Naruto if I could. What is it, Hayashi-san? Asked Naruto. I wish to talk about Hinata. Hinata, what about her? Well, you must already know that Hinata likes you. He was about to continue but stopped when he saw Naruto's blank look. Sir, Hinata doesn't like me. Smack. The sound of the Hawkage facepalming himself brought the attention of the two other males in the room. Naruto, she does like you. I know that for true. Heck, anyone who's seen you two has known it. Naruto rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Really? I never noticed it before. H-A-H-A-H-A-H-A, laughed Hayashi. You are so much like your mother. Kushina was as dense as you when it came to any form of affection. H-A-H-A-H-A, speaking of Kushina, this is what I wanted to talk to you about. As I told you, I was a close friend to your mother. No, maybe it's better to say that I owe her much. I want to repay her, and since she's not here anymore, Hayashi had a sad look on his face. I should repay you as her son. Naruto waved his hand side to side frantically. No, no. I really don't need anything. I mean, I just got tons of money. Maybe I can give you something that you can't buy with money. I would like to give my daughter's hand to you in marriage. Gigi, what does that mean? Please don't say what I think it means. The old leader shook his head. Naruto, he's asking you to marry Hinata. What? Naruto stood in a surprised position, frozen to that spot. Sarutobi rubbed his goatee thing. Maybe this would be a bad time to tell him about the Clan Restoration Act. WWH, what's that? Naruto asked, still in the same position. Well, I think that's the last of it, Tony said. He and Goyaji just spent the afternoon cleaning the blood stains and removing the bodies of the Sound Army. His lab never looked cleaner. The entire room shook as some of the contraptions on the ceiling fell down. Other machines on the tables rolled off, shattering as they hit the ground. Oh, come on, I just cleaned that, whined Tony. Oi, Goyaji, looks like we have to. Goyaji was gone. In his place was a letter. Dear Tony, I decided to take a 2-hour vacation. Happy cleaning. Old man, Tony shouted. Naruto walked like a zombie down one of the streets of Konoha. He stumbled constantly, and his eyes were the anime wide eyes, you know, the white circles. He had re-equipped his suit before he left the tower. Now he was walking to the hospital. For some reason, Hinata was sick. Naruto wondered what happened. Fight me. Heard Naruto. He turned around and saw Hyuga Neji standing there. What did you say? I said fight me. Neji got into a common Hyuga fighting stance. Naruto sighed. Look, I don't really have time to play. I have to go and see Hinata. Naruto dodged quickly as Neji made the first attack. Fate has decided I will win today. Naruto sighed again. Fine, I'll make this quick. He jumped back to the side of the street. Everyone had cleared the area so they didn't get in the crossfire. Neji snickered. I will make this quick. Fate has decided that I will win. My eyes can see everything. He activated his Byakugan. Naruto stood there unmoving. Neji decided to attack again, but this time with 8 trigrams, 64 palms. Neji's hands moved with lightning speed, hitting all of the places with chakra points. His last strike sent Naruto to the ground. I told you. Fate has decided that I'm the victor. He sneered at Naruto, at least until he was met with a punch in the gut. A knee came up to meet him next and snapped his head back. Naruto uppercutted his chest and sent him in the air. Then he did a palm strike of his own onto Neji's stomach. As soon as he made contact, Naruto said, thrust power at 10%, firing. Neji was blown back by the charge and was sent sprawling on the ground. Naruto walked over to Neji, who had a look of pain and confusion on his face. How are you standing? I hit all of your chakra points. You idiot, did you forget that I have armor on? No, this is impossible. I should have won. Fate had decided that I would be the victor. Hyuga, you should have figured this out already. Fate is a liar. No matter what we predict, no matter what we think, fate doesn't go by our plans. Naruto left Neji on the ground and left to the hospital. Naruto went through the front doors of the building. He got the number of the room from the creeped-out nurse and got to the door. He took a deep breath and slapped himself. Come on, Uzumaki. You can talk to her. Nothing's changed. You just know some more stuff. That's it. Come on. He slid the door open. Hey, Hinata. Naruto eyes widened. 3 doctors stood over her, arguing and thinking about something. But Naruto was concentrating on that. He looked at the patient on the bed and yelled, Hinata. The blue-haired girl laid on the bed. She was deathly pale and was breathing short, quick breaths. Naruto ran up to the side of the hospital bed. One of the doctors saw in him and recognized him from the Chunin exam. He said, Hey kid, you can't be here, leave in. What happened? Asked Naruto. The doctor who spoke got a look of annoyance. Kid, didn't you hear me? You have to leave right now. Enough, said one of the doctors. His name was Shiro Ryoshi. He was one of the doctors that took care of Naruto when he was young. He can stay. The doctor grumbled and looked away from Naruto. Ryoshi looked at Naruto. I'll tell you what's happening. It seems the damage that she received on her heart while fighting her cousin has gotten worse. Man, if I knew that, I would have kicked his ass harder. Then what's wrong? You can fix this, right? No, I have no idea what to do. But I think I know someone who knows. CECI, open a channel with the Iron Man suit. Understood, connecting. Naruto waited a few moments, but soon enough he heard static and a voice. Naruto, what is it? I need you and Goyeji here now. One of my friends is hurt, and none of the doctors know what to do. Fine. We both can come since Goyeji is back from his 2-hour vacation. Just summon a portal. The connection cut off. Naruto made the 5 one-handed seals and created the portal seal that was as tall as the room. Tony and Goyeji came out of it arguing. But I told you I really needed that vacation, said Goyeji. Vacation, my ass, you just didn't want to help cleaning up, replied the pissed-off Tony. Now, what's the problem? Ryoshi repeated what he said to Naruto to Goyeji. I see. Naruto, could you do a scan of her heart? Yeah, CECI, you heard that right. Understood, scanning, scan complete. Naruto pressed a few buttons on a panel on his forearm and a hologram of the scan came up. Tony looked at it and said, sorry, I have no idea what to do either. That's because when people in America have this problem, you just get a heart transplant when it's not necessary, said Goyeji. Then what do you do in a situation like this? Goyeji, instead of answering Tony, looked at the doctors and asked, do you know why her heart is so damaged? The doctor that had previously yelled at Naruto scoffed at Goyeji. Of course we do. It's because of the Jukin strikes. They blocked off the chakra momentarily. You say that like it means something, Goyeji said with a shake of his head. What? Do you know what's going on here then if you're so all-knowing? Of course I do. The heart needs chakra to work. Chakra is the combination of mental and physical energy, and our body is constantly giving our heart chakra. That's why we don't need to think about beating our own heart, why it moves involuntarily. But when chakra disappears for even a second, the heart slows down and won't go back to its original state. Then what do we do? Asked Ryoshi. We need to engulf the heart in chakra. Naruto, place your hand over her chest and generate as much chakra as you can into your hand. Naruto nodded and did exactly what he was told to do. Naruto took a deep breath and concentrated. His hand became engulfed in chakra and it spread down to Hinata's heart. But what is this? Asked the last doctor. He's producing enough chakra for a Chunin and doesn't even look wiped out. Goyeji watched in fascination. So this is the power of a Jinchuriki, the awesome amounts of chakra. The blue glow of the chakra faded as Naruto stopped. How is she now? The doctors did a checkup and Ryoshi nodded and gave a smile. She's completely fine now, thanks to you. Naruto let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. Naruto, Tony said, I'm glad you contacted us. Come back with us for a moment. I need to talk to you. Goyeji and Tony went back into the portal they entered in. Naruto nodded and looked back. Take good care of her. He then ran into the portal, which shattered as soon as Naruto went in. Naruto walked into the lab, the portal closing behind him. So what did you want to talk about? Tony looked at Naruto with a worried look. Sorry, Naruto, but it seems my hands will be full for a while. I won't be able to contact you for maybe months. Months, but I might need your advice. What should I do if I need your help? That's what we want to talk about. Tony walked to a device that stood upon a seal. It looked like a parking meter without the coin slot. Instead, there was a hole where a USB plug was seen. Tony grabbed the plug and pulled it out. Naruto, remove your helmet. Naruto didn't know what was going on, but he trusted Tony to make sure nothing undesirable would occur. He said, CECI, unlock the restrainers connecting the helmet to the suit. Understood, unlocking now. There was hiss as smoke blew out of the helmet and the sound of bolts moving. Naruto reached up and took off his helmet, making sure he didn't touch the gear that stuck out of his head. Tony then said, Naruto, feel the back of your neck. Naruto did exactly as Tony ordered and felt a hole in the back. It felt rectangular and small. What is this? It's a USB port. It allows this to connect to your nervous system, more specifically the machine part of your brain. He plugged the USB in. Now pick anything that we might know that you don't. Tell me all about my suit. It seems you added things without my knowledge of it. The parking meter-like device beeped. Suddenly, Naruto saw zeros and ones in his vision. Outside of Naruto, Tony and Goyeji saw the right eye, the side with the gear, glow blue due to the electricity flowing through it. Tony, All I see are two numbers repeating themselves. Ask CECI to convert it. Right, CECI, you heard the man. Converting done. Multiple drawings and designs replace the zeros and ones. Are these the schematics for my suit? Asked Naruto. That's what you asked for, isn't it? So this can give me any information I want. Not any information, only the info that I have stored in my database. Goyaji added his ninja knowledge too if you need it. All right, let's download the whole thing. No, shouted Tony and Goyaji simultaneously. Naruto jumped back in surprise. What? Naruto, Tony began. If you do that, not only would CECI be converting for 3 months, but the information would overload your brain if you don't give it rest. Oh, whoops. Naruto rubbed the back of his head, but then he went deep into thought. Naruto, what is it? Tony, can I have one more piece of information from this? Info port, yeah, sure, why not? What do you want to know? Naruto looked at Tony. How to build things like you do. Like, H-A-H-A-H-A-H-A? Tony laughed at the blonde but stopped when he saw that he was serious. That's a crapload of information. I know, but if I can't come to you, I can't make modifications. Remember, you said we would modify my suit after the Chunin exams after I met Rody. How could he forget? Naruto begged him through the entire day and night. Flashback, 2 days ago. So this is all I need? Asked Naruto. Tony nodded. Yep, this should be all you should need for the exam. Tony, how you doing, man? Tony looked up and saw his friend from the military, James Rody or Rhodes for short. Is this the kid you told me about? Man, his suit looks badass, but not as much as mine. Tony, who is this? Asked Naruto. This is called James Rody. You could just call me Rhodes or Rody, though. Interrupted the colonel. I'm the wielder of the War Machine suit. Naruto's eyes widened. You have a suit, too. Yep, here it is. Rody placed a hand on the wall and the panels slid back showing a silver suit that was much bigger than the Iron Man suit due to the armor and weapons. Tani, whined Naruto. Why does he have all that stuff and all I have is this? Tony rubbed his forehead. He was trying to avoid this. Your suit is a prototype. I never created one using ninja and my knowledge. Until we test it in a real battle, we can't modify it. Oh, please, can we modify it now? No. Please. No. Please. No. Please. No. Please. I said no, and that's final. Flashback end. Of course, Tony just saying it was final didn't end the begging. All right, but don't get into a fight. CECI will be too busy converting to help you. Naruto nodded and Tony said, JARVIS, upload the knowledge on the basics on building onto Naruto's hardware. Of course, Master. The info port glowed and the info was sent to Naruto, who saw the zeros and ones. CECI, can you get those out of my sight? It's really distracting. All the zeros and ones disappeared. Thanks. Naruto turned to Tony and Goyaji. Thanks for everything. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, literally. No problem, said Tony. Don't try dying again, got it, Naruto, said Goyaji. Naruto was already in the portal when Goyaji spoke. I got it. He disappeared. Tony looked at Goyaji. Let's get to work. Can I have another 2-hour vacation first? No. Wh, where am I? Asked Hinata. She found herself in a huge room that was more majestic and bigger than any of the rooms in her house. She noticed that she was still wearing the hospital gown that she put on, and her regular clothes were folded on the drawer next to her. She got up and out of the bed and dressed. She went to open the door and walked into a living room. It had a huge TV and a circular rug that covered almost the entire room. There were 2 couches, one on each side of the door opposite of the TV, not the one that she just came out of. She went through that door and saw a staircase that led downstairs. On the left and right wall, there were 2 doors. She walked downstairs and was hit by the aroma of food. Down here, there was 1 door on each side. The smell was coming from the right door, and she got into a fighting stance. Wherever she was, there was someone in that room, and whoever she was is about to get her ass kicked. I will post the design that I drew of the house on my profile. She forced the door open and rushed in. Hey, Hinata-chan, you're awake. Hinata's eyes widened and her face felt warm, really warm. Naruto stood there standing over a completed breakfast. Unknown to Hinata, Naruto had a henge on that didn't show the gear on top of his head. You must be hungry. You were sleeping for 3 days. Crash, Hinata fainted and hit the ground, making a crack. Naruto rubbed the back of his head and laughed sheepishly. At least I know why she does that now. Hinata ate with silence. She had woken up and had managed not to faint again as she sat down at the table. After her third bite, she was too curious to not ask. Naruto-kun, WH, where are we? Whose H-house is this? Naruto was thumping his chest, right above the power core at the moment because he had eaten too fast. He grabbed the glass of milk and gulped it all down. When that little terror was over, he answered, "It's mine. I just bought it." This time, Hinata thumped her chest as she chalked on her toast. Wasn't this expensive? Oh yeah, you didn't get the news. I was awarded the rank of Chunin and I got Orochimaru's bounty. Why you're a Chunin now? Naruto nodded enthusiastically. Yep. See, congratulations. Ah. Naruto had moved suddenly and now was less than an inch from Hinata's face. Her face exploded in a deep red. Naruto just stood there, staring. He grinned. Hinata-chan, you seriously got stop stuttering. I already know how you feel about me, so no need to be nervous. Unfortunately, this had the opposite effect. Crash. Ah, crap, not again. Hinata managed to get up onto her seat, but her hand shook so much that she couldn't eat. It didn't matter. Her stomach was full of butterflies. He knows. What do I do? What do I do? Naruto sighed. This was harder than he thought. Maybe I should just talk normally. Hinata-chan, are you going to train for the next Chunin exam? Train? Ah, I forgot. I need to get home. Naruto rubbed his head sheepishly. Hinata, this is your home now. What do you mean, Naruto-kun? Naruto looked down. If Hinata looked closely, she could have seen Naruto's face go a little red. What I mean is your father gave you to me. Gave. To marry. Hinata started to cry. Naruto-kun, that's a horrible J-joke. Naruto petrified. This wasn't how he expected this to go. Hinata-chan, please don't cry. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Hinata wiped away her tears. It's okay, Naruto-kun. But I wasn't joking. Naruto-kun, you're horrible. I'm not joking. Your father was a friend of my mother, apparently, and he believes that the only way to repay her is to give me something. I didn't really have a choice in the matter due to the Clan Restoration Act. Why, you mean it's all true? I'm going to marry you. Well, the act doesn't come into effect until I'm 18, but yeah. Hinata was silent but then started to cry again. Oh shit, did I say something wrong again? Thought Naruto. Hinata, I'm sorry, please stop being sad. Hinata shook her head. I'm not sad, I'm really happy. Happy? I liked you since the academy, no, before that even. I started to watch you after you saved me from those bullies. Flashback 5 years ago. It was sunset in Konoha. The forests were almost dark, everything in it was going to sleep, nothing made a sound, except, "Why is someone like you here, your majesty?" taunted one of the boys in front of Hinata, who at the time was crying. How does it feel to know that you'll always have money to keep yourself happy when the rest of us have to live in poverty? Another boy who was covered in dirt said. He spit at the crying girl who was repeating, "I'm sorry." Sorry, you're not sorry. You just don't want to be here and are saying anything to save your behind, said the next angry boy who had a bat with nails at the end. Let me teach you what it means to be sorry. The boy lifted up his weapon and cackled when he saw the fear in Hinata's eyes. She shut her eyes tight. He brought the bat down and... Crack, Hinata waited. There was the sound of the hit, but where was the pain? She opened his eyes and saw another boy with blonde hair in front of her. His arm in front of his forehead was bleeding due to the nails embedded in his skin. The boy turned his sight behind his shoulder and looked at Hinata. She gasped as she saw his blue eyes glow in the dim light. He uttered one word, "Run." She nodded and took off toward her household. She got to the front gate and the guards ran up to her. Hinata-sama, why are you here and covered in filth? Come, let us wash you. Hinata shook her head. No, please, there's a boy that saved me that is being attacked. Please come with me. The heiress and her guards came to the place where Hinata left the blonde boy, but the boy was gone. The 3 bullies were on the ground, obviously hurt. They were bleeding everywhere and the bat was on the ground, covered in blood. Hinata gasped. On the ground, there was a message written in blood. It said, "Respect the women, you fuckers." Flashback end. Did something happen like that? Naruto asked out loud to himself. I always got hurt, so I can't remember. Hinata shook her head. Don't worry, it doesn't matter that why you don't remember. Naruto rubbed his head sheepishly again. Man, if you liked me from all the way back then, I must have been really dense. Hinata giggled. You were Naruto-kun, just a little bit. They both laughed, but then Naruto realized something. Hey, you didn't stutter that last sentence. See, it's not that hard. Naruto-kun is right. I didn't, Hinata thought. Must be because you are with me. Naruto furrowed his eyebrows and frowned. No, wasn't that when I was with you, you stuttered. Hinata had a look of confusion on her face as she thought about what she just said. She decided to ignore it and move on. Naruto-kun, what are you going to do? Huh, what do you mean? This house must have cost a lot with the size and all the stuff inside. Didn't you waste all the bee bounty money? What are you talking about? This entire house, including the stuff, was about 24 billion yen. What? Hinata went slack-jawed. How much money was the bounty? About 600 billion yen. Crash, Hinata fainted onto the floor. Naruto looked over her and laughed. Well, at least it wasn't because of the usual reason. The Hawkage sighed. Why did he have to do paperwork? Why couldn't he hire someone to do it for him? He sighed again. Poof. He looked up and saw an ANBU and Naruto standing there with the latter yelling. Don't do that. I told you I could get to the tower fast by myself. The ANBU shushed away. Hey, get back here. I need to kick your ass. Naruto Naruto. Naruto stopped yelling and turned to the Hawkage. Hey, Jiji, why you send for me? Straight to the point, are we? I do have a fainted Hinata back at home, so I want to get back as soon as possible. Sarutobi chuckled. Right, well, I'll send someone to check on her because I have a job for you. Your first job as a chunin. What is it? Naruto asked enthusiastically. Teuya, do you remember her? Was she the red-head girl with the foul mouth that I fought? Exactly, she's being a bit difficult with us. But we may have found a way to get her to talk. What? Tsuchikin, a girl we found after the exams. Oh yeah, she was the girl on the Sound Genin team. Right, she also happens to be a close friend of Teuya. I get it now, no need to explain, I'll talk to her. Naruto opened up a portal seal and left. The Hawkage sighed. Young people always on the move, you can come in now. Jiraiya walked in through the window. He's changed. Jiraiya, you were the one that did that to Naruto, so you will be held responsible. I know, I'll teach the boy. Good, teach him everything that you can. Jiraiya nodded and shushed away. He's stupid, but Jiraiya can be reliable, but he has done something right. His biggest accomplishment, Heya. The Hawkage pulled out a familiar orange book. Kin stood chained to the wall. She had been captured after the Hawkage found her tied up. She was to be used in a sacrifice, but something happened otherwise. None of the ninjas that visit take care of her will tell her. They probably had been ordered to keep silent. The door slid open and a man of armor walked in. He stood there staring at her. What? Are you my interrogator? You could say that. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. Uzumaki, where have I heard of that before? You should remember. You attacked my teammate in the Forest of Death when I was unconscious. Wait. You were that goofy blonde kid, the one that won his preliminary round by farting. Oh right, remember that of all things. No one remembers how I had to save Sasuke in the Forest of Death and in the Chunin exam. What happened to you? Well, why am I answering questions? I should be asking them. Kin scoffed. Right, try and get a word out of me. I'm not going to spill. Naruto didn't listen. He was thinking with his hand on his chin. Something's not right here. What torture is that what you're forgetting? Kin mocked. She believed that the kid from back then couldn't do something as cruel as that, right? Oh yeah, that's what's wrong. Naruto unsheathed his Tarkatan's blades and walked closer to Kin. Kin started to struggle against her chains. I was just kidding. You really don't need to. Naruto brought down his blades and Kin closed her eyes. Where's the pain? She reopened her eyes and saw that he was sheathing his blades. She exhaled a nervous breath and put her arms down. Wait, my arms are down. She looked up and saw that the chains were cut. That's much better, don't you think? Asked Naruto. Aren't you afraid that I'll attack you? Asked Kin. Not really. And why not? I did work for Orochimaru, so what makes you think that I won't attack you? Did? What? You said did. Don't you mean that you still work for Orochimaru? Well, of course I do. Anyways, no, you won't attack me because of what I'm about to tell you. From what I saw during Shikamaru's preliminary match, you use sound genjutsu. My helmet can block all sound if I choose to. But I also use senbon. How do you know that I don't have hidden weapons with me? If that happens, my armor will block it. Then afterwards, I'll have the ANBU outside strip you down to your skin, and then I will interrogate you. Kin tensed, but then let her head drop. She was out of options. Fine, I won't attack you. Good, now I want to talk to you about helping Konoha. Kin snorted. Why would I help you? Orochimaru-sama is coming to free me soon. You don't know. Know what? Is this what the guards were keeping from me? Thought the curious Kin. Orochimaru's dead, replied Naruto. Like, who killed him? Asked Kin. Yours truly, said Naruto with a bow. Like, H-A-H-H-H-H-H-H-A. You kill a Sannin like Orochimaru-sama. Don't be ridiculous. You couldn't even beat the Inuzuka without your fart. Naruto sighed. He walked over to the adjacent wall that was left of the door. He pulled back his fist and sent it flying into the concrete wall. His arm up to his elbow smashed through. Then he pulled back his arm and dragged the cellmate out of his cell and into Kin's. Still think I couldn't have defeated him? Asked Naruto. The guy Naruto pulled through was whimpering. He was trying to figure out how to escape when a fist broke into his cell and pulled him here. Naruto noticed the man's behavior. Oh, sorry, man. He opened the door and yelled out, ANBU, clean up on aisle 9. The man dove into his cell and hid from Naruto. Kin was taken aback. She had no idea what just happened. What? Where did he get such strength? What happened to him? I wonder, is that strength enough to kill Orochimaru-sama? How did you kill him? I used an unfair advantage. That doesn't answer my question. What advantage? I kinda took out his forces before I attacked him, so I had an entire village's worth of ninjas helping me. Kin was still surprised. Orochimaru-sama had an entire army waiting with the sand and the sound. Wait, did you take out the sand as well? Nope, after they saw me beat Gaara and saw that their Kazekage was a fraud, they didn't want to join forces anymore. So he only needed to take out the sound, not bad. He defeated half an army and must have fought the sound 4. Wait, what about Teuya? She's a sound ninja and she was one of Orochimaru's bodyguards. Naruto shook his head. Sorry, but Teuya has no connections to this place. She would attack this village immediately if we let her go, so the Hokage has decided to execute her. It was lie, though, but what she doesn't know won't hurt. What? Is she a friend of yours? Kin nodded. Can you do anything? Naruto shook his head. Sorry, but only a Konoha ninja that can defend her can help her, but considering she was a personal guard of Orochimaru, no one wants to. Can't you? Kin asked. Naruto smiled inwardly. Good, she's asking the enemy just like I want. Why should I was the one that took her down. Please, she begged. Fine on 2 conditions. First, break all bonds or connections with Orochimaru. Done. He tried to use me as a sacrifice, so I have no love for him. Second, become a Konoha ninja. What? Konoha needs all the people it can get. Genjutsu is welcomed here considering we don't have that many users. Kin thought for a moment. Naruto saw that she was still indecisive, so he added, if you don't, you'll be marked as a missing nin. Kin sighed. Fine, it seems I have no choice. Good, then sign this contract with your blood, but be warned, if you break it, Teuya will die. Naruto pulled out a piece of paper from seemingly nowhere. She signed it and the contract disappeared with a poof. I'll go talk to the Hokage now. Wait, you are going to cancel Teuya's execution, right? Naruto was already out the door when she heard his response. Maybe, if she was actually being executed. He slammed the door and ran as fast as he could. The gears clicked in her head as she heard the footprints echo into her room. You bastard. Naruto knocked on the door and peeked in. Knock, knock. He looked at the girl in the straitjacket and the muffle. Why does she have a muffle on like a dog? The ANBU that stood outside answered. She kept cussing and getting on my nerves. Did you really need to do that, though? Asked Naruto. Trust me, the stuff she said would piss you off, too. With that, the ANBU closed the door. Naruto looked at Teuya, who shot daggers with her eyes. Naruto said, yeah, I have no idea how to read your eyes, so I'll just take off your muffle. He took the knob and twisted, making the muffle snap open. Fuck you, you bastard. You fucking killed my teammates. I don't want to see any part of you. Again, the language. Who fucking cares what you think, you motherfucker? You know what, if you're going to be like this, I can just tell the Hawkage to go through with Kin Suchai's execution. What did you just say? Kin Suchai is to be executed tomorrow for being affiliated with the Sound. But she was just a grunt. Doesn't matter. The Hawkage wants to make sure that no one will try and rebuild Otakagyr. But Teuya was frustrated. She didn't know what to do. The only way for her to avoid death is to be defended by a Konoha nin. Then can you do it? Of course I could, but I won't. Please, she's my close friend. And why should I do something for you? Well, Naruto sighed. This is going better than I thought. If you sign a contract and become a Konoha ninja, you can defend her yourself. Fine, give me the contract. Naruto took out the contract and held it up to her. How am I supposed to sign this? Asked the annoyed Teuya. It's a blood contract, but let me warn you, if you break the contract, Kin dies. Teuya nodded and bit the inside of her cheek. She mixed the influx of blood with saliva and spit onto the paper. Good, I'll go talk with the Hawkage. And you'll make sure Kin doesn't die, right? Of course, Naruto was out the door, but before he closed the door, he yelled, her execution is changed from never to still never. He slammed the door and ran again. You motherfucker, get the fuck back here. Amazing, Naruto, said Sarutobi. You got them not only to be forced to talk, but you got them to join Konoha as well. Naruto swelled with pride as he heard those words. But then he heard this. Too bad they're going to kill you. They won't forget until you're shredded to bits for tricking them into this. What? Nothing. I just wanted to talk about your next mission. Really, I just did one. Ninjas can't rest, but I want you to have a team this time. A team? Sarutobi nodded. A team led by a Chunin has 2 Chunin and 3 Genin. For your next mission, I want you to work with them. Do I get to pick? Sarutobi shook his head. That's funny. A newly appointed Chunin thinking he can pick members onto his team. No, I will choose for you. The first 2 Genin will be Teuya and Kin. What, why? You are the only person that they might listen to. Naruto's head dropped. Fiein, who is the Chunin and last Genin. I wanted the Chunin to be someone you knew, so your teamwork would be good. Who? Nara Shikamaru. Wait, Shikamaru got promoted. Naruto said with his jaw on the ground, which made it hard to understand what he was saying. Sarutobi chuckled at the blonde's antics. Yes, he showed strategy beyond the average Genin, beyond the average Chunin. Naruto laughed. Yep, that's Shikamaru for you. Okay, I won't mind him on the team, but who's the last Genin? The old leader gave a smile that Naruto just didn't feel too good about. Hyuga Hinata. Well, I thought your fiancée would be sad if you left without her, so I put her on the team. Naruto smiled. Okay, so what's the mission? Sarutobi got a serious look. Do you know Rock Lee? Of course. He has some damage to his body that our medics can't fix. It seems that the battle with Sabuku no Gara nearly destroyed his ninja career. Naruto was surprised. What happened when I was with Tony? Wait a minute, Naruto asked. You said nearly right. Sarutobi nodded. There is one person who can help him, Tsunade, my old student. Naruto nodded. So just drag her ass back here. Right. Good, I'll go assemble my team. Naruto walked over to the door. Wait, there's one more person that I want to send with you. He's going to teach you during the mission. I assume you already know Jiraiya. Naruto froze, his hand centimeters from the doorknob. His head turned around slowly and shakily, making a creepy creaking noise as it moved and looked at the Hawkage. That dipshit that pushed me off the cliff. Sarutobi could swear that he saw black darkness pouring out of Naruto's mouth and ears, and his eyes looked like the Shinigami's. Naruto's head turned back around. Fine, just don't be surprised if you find a dead pervert in your office when I come back. He left. Jiraiya is going to have a hell of a time with Naruto. Now back to his greatest accomplishment, thought Sarutobi. Hinata woke up in the same room again. What happened? Oh yeah, I fainted because of that. Wow, this room is worth more than I have, she thought amazed. She walked downstairs to try and find Naruto, but he wasn't in sight. She did get a layout of the house, though. The second floor was consisted of a living room, 4 bedrooms, a half bathroom which connected to a room with a bath, and a closet. The first floor consisted of a kitchen, dining room, the entrance, and Hinata stared at the door that she hadn't opened yet. Maybe Naruto-kun is in there. She opened the door and saw a staircase. She climbed down and saw another door. She knocked and opened the door. "Hello, Naruto-kun." The room was pitch dark, so Hinata reached around until she hit a light switch. A row of light turned on and illuminated the space of where she stood. Another row of lights turned on and another. This continued until the entire room was lit. Hinata stood surprised at what she saw. The room was huge. It stretched out even past the base of the house. It was as bigger than a football field. But everywhere she looked, she saw metal pieces and devices that she couldn't recognize. Metal arms were moving by themselves. "Hinata!" She eeped and turned around and saw Naruto on the stairs that she just came down on. Naruto-kun. Sorry, I didn't mean to intrude." Naruto frowned and Hinata was afraid that she entered a room that was private. "Oh, Hinata, we just fixed your stuttering problem, but don't worry, this isn't a room that I need to hide." He walked in and stretched his arms out. "This is my lab where I invent stuff to add onto my suit." "Naruto, why do you wear that S-suit?" asked Hinata. Naruto sighed. "I'll show you since you're someone I trust. CECI, unequip armor." Hinata gasped. She trembled as she looked at his metal arm, leg, and gear. What happened? "A man named Jiraiya the Toad Sage pushed me off a cliff to train me." Hinata gasped again. She knew who Jiraiya was. He was one of the Sannin. It was impossible not to know him. She started to tremble again. Naruto saw this and said, "Hinata, if you're scared, you can leave this house. Don't worry, I'm not scared," Hinata said, her hair covering her eyes so Naruto couldn't see them. "What? Then why are you trembling?" "I'm trembling because..." Hinata looked up and Naruto saw her tears roll down her face. "Because I'm angry at Jiraiya, I'm sorry. You wouldn't need to train if I didn't lose to Neji." Naruto was shocked. No, it's not your fault. Really, please stop crying." Hinata wiped her tears away and giggled. "It seems that all I do is cry, and all you do is apologize." Naruto laughed. "I guess we do." They both laughed. Knock, knock, knock. Naruto looked back at the stairs. "It seems that we have visitors. Let's go, Hinata." Both ninjas walked up the stairs and went to the door. Naruto opened it and immediately yelled, "Ah, what are you doing here?" Hinata looked past Naruto and looked at the visitors. "One of them looks familiar, but the other I have no idea who that is." One of the visitors said, "You don't need to fucking yell." The other said, "Teuya, you just yelled too." "Kin, please don't correct me right now in front of this motherfucker." "What are you doing here?" Naruto asked again. Kin answered, "We needed a place to live and the Hokage told us to stay here." Teuya added, "It's not like we want to stay here, especially after what you did." Naruto shook his head. "Wait, let me get this straight. You two are going to be staying here." They nodded. Squeak, squeak. "Damn it, Floor, shut up," whispered the transformed, unarmored Naruto as he tried to walk outside. It has been hell ever since the two girls moved in, and that was only yesterday. "Think about what will happen to me in a week," thought Naruto as he edged toward the door. He reached for the doorknob very slowly so that even the air molecules were not disturbed. His hand touched the doorknob, which rattled due to his trembling. Almost there. He turned the knob and heard the click as the metal bar went back into the door. Naruto grinned. "Ha, made it out alive." He got ready to rush out of the door and opened it. Naruto stood there open mouth. "How is it that I didn't notice this squeaky door before?" Naruto stood still, not moving a millimeter. The sound of silence quickly turned to the sound of stomping feet on the second floor. Naruto panicked and ran out the door. He was laughing. He made it out. Naruto froze as a senbon needle scratched his cheek and embedded itself into one of the trees. He started to shake when he heard the dreaded voice in a sing-song tone. "Where are you going, Uzumaki?" "Crap, Kin found me. What are my choices? I can give up, or I can run. I'm going to run now." CECI put, "I don't care how much energy into my legs. I need to escape now." Naruto heard the quick footsteps of Kin as she ran toward him. "Uzumaki, get back here." Naruto took a few steps and stopped. He looked around and rubbed his eyes to make sure he was seeing what was in front of him. He found himself in the middle of one of Konoha's market streets, which happened to be very far away from here. Very far as in a couple miles away. CECI, how much energy did you use?" 50%, Master Naruto." 50%. Well, I guess I did say I didn't care, but CECI, if I say to use a random amount of energy, keep it under 20%. Understood. Naruto took in a deep breath and exhaled. Now that I'm away from them, I'd better get something to eat. He walked for a couple of minutes, ignoring the curious views from the people who saw Naruto in the Chunin exam. He stopped when he saw his favorite restaurant and went right in. Hey, old man Ikaraku, 10 bowls of miso ramen, please. The old shop owner Ikaraku Tuche turned around and greeted his favorite customer. Naruto. Naruto became confused when Tuche moved side to side trying to look around the blonde. Old man, what are you doing? Tuche continued his actions and replied, Is there anyone with you? Naruto shook his head. So you're going to pay for your ramen today? I guess so. Tuche nodded and then got an evil grin. Well, then you can pay for all the times you ran out on me today. He took out some chains and got ready to tie Naruto to his stool to show how serious he was. But Naruto raised a hand. Wait, you don't need to go that far. I'm kind of rich now, so I'll gladly pay everything. Tuchai was stunned. This was the first time Naruto gladly paid for his food. Wait, if he pays everything from now on and he gets this much ramen every day, then I'll be rich too. Eat all the ramen you want as long as you pay for it. Naruto nodded gladly and began eating all the ramen Tuche put in front of him. 10 bowls later. Naruto sat there, rubbing his full belly. Thanks for the food as always, old man Ikaraku. Tuche nodded. No problem, now there's the subject of payment we need to talk about. He handed Naruto a piece of paper that was as long as his arm. Naruto read it and his mouth hit the floor. 400,000 yen. About $5,000, Naruto's head sunk. He truly felt sorry for Uruka-sensei for paying for him all this time. Naruto took out a checkbook he got after he bought his house and wrote an amount on it. He handed it to Tuchai and said, Sorry, but I have to go now. I think it's time for my team to go on the mission. Tuchai nodded. Be careful, I can't lose my favorite customer. Naruto grinned. Don't worry, I have a lot of strong people on my team and I'm really strong too. Anyways, bye, I'll come by when I'm back. Naruto went rushing toward the gates. Tuchai watched as the blonde disappeared from his sight and sighed worriedly. Hope the kid doesn't get hurt. He doesn't need any more shit in his life. He looked down at the check in his hand and looked at the design. A fox design on the check. Heh, must be to piss people off. He looked at Naruto's handwriting. His handwriting still stinks. Is that a 7 or a 2? Tuchai thought with a laugh. But he then realized something. If the number on the check has to be 400,000 yen, then why would there be a 7 or a 2? He examined closely and shook as he understood the crude writing. 700,000 yen. About $9,000 I aim. He shouted, Get ready, we're going shopping. The gates of Konoha were visible to Naruto by the time Tuchai was spending his small fortune. By the gates, there were 2 people standing. He ran up to them but frowned when he recognized one of them. The 2 were Jiraiya and Shikamaru. They stood there with their packs on their backs. Naruto called out to them, Hey Shikamaru, dipshit. Jiraiya stumbled for a moment when he heard the new nickname. Shikamaru only raised an eyebrow to the name. About time, is this all the members? Naruto shook his head. No, there are 3 girls that are on our team. Shikamaru sighed. Women so troublesome. What you say about us women? Asked the voice that came behind Naruto. Naruto turned around and saw all 3 members with their packs ready. Naruto reacted impulsively, AAHHDEMONS. This resulted in a slap upside the head courtesy to Hinata. Naruto-kun, they are not demons. From what they told me, you tricked them. Why are you so cruel? Asked a scolding Hinata. Naruto held his head from the pain and put on anime teary eyes. I'm sorry, Teuya and Kin joined Hinata in reprimanding Naruto while the 2 other males stood there, befuddled due to the situation. Jiraiya was stuck on if he should help Naruto. In his mind, it's the right thing to do, but Naruto wouldn't accept his help. Shikamaru was surprised about Hinata. She was acting much more confidently around Naruto. He wondered what had happened to her. When the 3 females thought Naruto had enough scolding, they turned to the gates and said, Come on, we don't have all day. Hey Naruto. What is it, dipshit? Would you mind stopping with the name? Would you mind stopping with the killing of your student? I already apologized for that. Right, the apology makes everything better. A simple sorry makes everything right again. Well, what do you want me to do? Why don't you take your sorry and shove it up your... Nuff, Hinata yelled as she interrupted the erupting conversation. This shut them both up for the moment, though Jiraiya never got his question out. He wanted to know exactly how Naruto was still up and running. Heh, running, like a machine for those that don't get it, but for the moment it seemed wise to keep shut. If he didn't, either Naruto would just argue with him or that girl would intervene, and he wasn't so sure he wanted to face that. So this is the city that your old teammate is in? Asked Naruto. Yeah, answered Jiraiya. After a long, silent trip, they arrived in a bustling city. People yelled about fresh fruit, Vegetables, tools, toys, robbers, meat, weapons, milk, fish, wait a moment, robbers. Naruto stuck out one hand and grabbed the running robber and slammed him into the ground. He then proceeded to pick up the stolen bag, return it to the tired women the robber stole it from, added energy to his leg, and kicked the robber over the buildings. "It's good!" exclaimed Naruto as he put his arms in the air. Naruto turned to his teammates, whom were emotionally conflicted about what just happened, and asked to the white pervert, "How do we find this teammate of yours?" Jiraiya thought for a moment. "Well, if I know Tsunade, she's in a place that gambles." "Hey, this machine cheats. I want my money back." "Eh? You mean like in that place with the screaming blonde woman and the frantic brunette?" Jiraiya sweat-dropped. "The blonde is Tsunade." Everyone sweat-dropped. "That was much too easy. Is this really a Chunin mission? The last one was easy too, since all I had to do was trick." He was met with two demonic glares and a disappointed, worried look from the girls of his team. "Right, let's go," said Naruto as he inched away from the girls toward the still yelling blonde. Tsunade was not having a great day. She had lost all her money to this cheating machine. And the machine really did cheat this time, she swears. But of course her day is about to get worse. "Still defending your title of the legendary sucker, aren't you?" Tsunade recognized that voice. "Don't bother. If you want a team reunion, go celebrate with the geezer and the snake bastard." "Sorry, but the snake won't be able to attend said reunion," said an unfamiliar voice. It was a kid with blonde, spiky hair. Just like Minato, he wore a gray t-shirt with an orange spiral on it and a pair of blue shorts. "What do you mean that he can't attend?" "Simple," the kid said with a smug grin. "Dead people can't attend parties." Tsunade's eyes widened for a moment before laughing at him. "Dead. He has escaped death's grip for many years, that slimy snake. Tell me, if he did die, who killed him?" Naruto's head raised in pride as he pointed at himself and said, "Yours truly." Naruto responded to Tsunade's guffawing with a frown. "You, a kid like you kill Orochimaru." "Can you believe this kid, Jiraiya?" "Actually, yeah," Jiraiya said to the now not laughing Tsuend. "He wiped out an entire army, defeated Orochimaru's personal guards, beat a Jinchuriki, and killed Orochimaru in a really gruesome fashion." "Jiraiya, stop shitting me. How could a kid like this defeat him?" Naruto spoke up. "I'm actually wondering something along the same line. How can this lady be one of the greatest medics? She doesn't seem that impressive except for her bust size." At that remark, Tsunade's face grew red with rage. Jiraiya snickered and was followed by Naruto until they were both silenced by slaps courtesy of their lady teammates. Shikamaru at that time had left the building to watch the clouds. He calmly ignored the yelling, insults, and slaps. "Fluffy clouds, wish I could sleep on them." Hinata stood between Tsunade and Naruto and stuck her arms out to halt the bickering. "Stop! This is no time to be fighting." Hinata exhaled a breath of relief when Naruto and Tsunade stopped trying to claw out each other's throats, but she got a bad feeling when they both looked up with a suspicious glint in their eye and an evil smile. "You're right, this isn't the right time to fight," said Tsunade. "A better time to fight is 10 seconds from now on that street." Finished Naruto, they ran off into the streets, ignoring the complaints of the Hyuga heiress. Naruto and Tsunade stood face to face with 10 feet in between them. Naruto got into his battle stance and said, "CECI, equip armor." Tsunade became startled at the sight of the white glow and the appearance of the armor, but regained her composure quickly. She stuck out one finger and smirked. "All I need to beat you is this finger." Inside the armor, Naruto was pissed. "CECI, add as much chakra into the energy flow as you want. Just don't put too much energy. I don't want to kill her." "Understood, adding 40% into reactor. Power output is now 140%. As soon as Naruto heard that, he took off running toward Tsunade. He pulled back one fist and charged it with chakra energy. Tsunade kept up her attitude and flexed her finger. Naruto released the punch and Tsunade flicked. The two collided and sent both flying back to their original positions. Tsunade landed and made a crack as her feet hit the ground. She looked up wide-eyed at the armored blonde. Naruto had added power to his legs as he was midair and got ready. As soon as he felt the ground, he pushed off, becoming a blur as he raced to Tsunade. He uppercutted her gut and sent her flying high. He then charged his palm and waited for the exact moment. When Tsunade had almost hit the ground, Naruto striked. His charged hand hit the midair Tsunade and sent her flying horizontally away from Naruto. He kept his hand out and fired. Thrust power output at 10%. Fire. The result was Tsunade tumbling into the ground when she was hit by the charge. Naruto smiled and walked over to the defeated Tsunade. He grabbed her twin blonde ponytails and raised her head. She grunted in pain as she was lifted up 6 inches off the ground. "Still think I can't defeat Orochimaru?" asked Naruto smugly. Clank. This was the sound everyone heard as Tsunade's finger shot itself into Naruto's plate. He was sent flying and tumbling much like the other blonde earlier. Tsunade got up without breaking a sweat and cracked her knuckles. Naruto, on the other hand, had some trouble getting up due to the cracked plate slightly crushing his ribcage, making it hard to breathe. But he was finally able to get up, and when he did, he retracted his armor. This surprised everyone as he glared at her. Then he smirked. "This battle is over. I win." Tsunade, after the words had sunk in, growled. "What do you mean you won? I barely worked up a sweat." She wiped her forehead with the back of her hand to prove her point, but froze as she felt something warm stick to her hand. She slowly lowered to eye level and started to shake at the sight. There was blood on her hands. "Hemophobia pathetic," said Naruto as he faced his team. "Let's go back to Konoha." He began walking back on the path they came on. Jiraiya called out, "Wait, what about the mission?" Naruto stopped for a moment before looking back. "Our mission was to bring back the greatest medic of Konoha." He pointed at the shaking woman. "That is a pathetic excuse for a Mednin. The person we're looking for isn't here anymore. All that's left is the illusion of her. So mission failed. Now let's get back home. I want some Ikarakus." With that, he resumed walking. His team took one more glance at Tsunade, who was being helped by Shizune, before they followed after him. Shizune could only watch with pity in her eyes as Tsunade rubbed the blood off her skin. No, that wasn't true. The blood was washed off 20 minutes ago. Tsunade had spent the last 40 minutes trying to remove something that wasn't there. She was trying to remove the memory of the red liquid even touching her skin. Shizune had gone over the scenario in her head over and over. That boy was wrong to say that in front of her. No matter how much that was true, he shouldn't have said that. She felt the side of the bed move as her Shishu sat next to her. There was a brief moment of silence. It was broken when Tsunade sighed. "That boy's right. I am pathetic. I just completely broke down when I saw that blood, and—" "Stop it, Tsunade-sama," Shizune interrupted. "That boy had no right in saying that. He has no idea what you've gone through. If he had known, he would have been more respectful." With every word, Tsunade's head rose up. With Shizune finishing, she said, "You're right. That boy has no idea. He probably hasn't even gone through a fraction of the hell I had to live. Thanks, Shizune. Tomorrow I'm meeting that kid and kicking his ass." Shizune smiled. It was great to see her Shishu back on her feet, but she frowned when she realized what she had just said. "Tsunade-sama, you just can't go around beating up people you don't like." But this fell on deaf ears, and the blonde took one swig of her sake and collapsed. Shizune's eye twitched. How many drinks did she have to collapse to that one sip? And where was I when she was drinking? Wait a minute, where did she get that sake? I thought I took all of them away. Never underestimate the desire to drink of Tsuand. Naruto walked silently on the dirt road as his team followed behind. He was deep in thought. The only true reason that he wanted that hag was to help bushy brows. So what could he do now? "I suppose we could do some surgery using robots to minimize the risk, but the bones that didn't shatter are weakened. I don't think a simple milk and cookies will restore them." He didn't notice the blue-haired girl frowning at him. Hinata didn't feel like what he had said was the right thing to say. He doesn't know what the woman had gone through, and yet he said those things. She could understand that he might be a little peeved at the fact that he lost his 2 limbs, but he was still up and running. However, it didn't explain the reaction he had. She took a deep breath and walked a little faster to catch up to him. She was still nervous around him, but much had changed. She reached for his shoulder and nearly yelped in surprise as a hand touched her shoulder. She looked back and saw Jiraiya shaking his head. "That's not the best possible route you might want to take." Her frown deepened. "What do you know about taking the best route?" she said. She was still ticked about the fact that the man here pushed her crush off a cliff to make him stronger. While it worked, it was still unacceptable. Jiraiya ignored her frown and continued. "I know his past better than you, so I can understand where all those negative feelings came from and why he said those things." "I don't care," she said, figuring out that Jiraiya must have been informed about Naruto's condition. "Just because he lost some limbs doesn't give him the right to." She was interrupted when Jiraiya's eyes went wide and did a loud whisper. "What do you mean he lost his limbs?" Hinata looked at him confused until she realized what was going on. "He doesn't know," she thought quickly before she shook her head. "Never mind, just ignore it for now." Jiraiya looked at the girl suspiciously before he resumed talking. "He had a horrible childhood. Did you know that?" Hinata nodded. She knew that all the adults had looked down on him and had told their children to stay away from him. Even some from the head family had spoken ill of him. She knew because of this he had no friends. Jiraiya, after seeing her response, smiled. At least he's got someone to count on now, thanks to you. Hinata blushed momentarily in thinking that she now supported Naruto through the hardships. The blush would have stayed on her face if Jiraiya had not said the next thing. He really needs someone to look after him, after all those beatings he had to endure. Jiraiya flinched as he saw the look on Hinata's face. He quickly realized that Naruto had not been so forward about his past to his fiancée. Oh well, it was bound to happen. But right now he had to figure out how to survive his student's fiancé's glare. Hinata replied with an angry and authoritative tone. What beatings? Jiraiya shook his head. Never mind, just ignore it for now, he said, copying Hinata, but unlike Jiraiya, Hinata would not be so easily deterred. I can't ignore it. If it has something to do with Naruto-kun, then it has something to do with me. Got it. Jiraiya still shook his head. Sorry, but the truth about those beatings is an S-rank secret. If I just tried to tell you a hint about it, I could probably go to jail. Only Naruto can tell you, he said, knowing full well that the third might just give him a slap on the wrist. I just thought he would have told you by now, so I brought it up. Hinata thought about forcing the white-haired pervert into telling her, but she was soon too distracted by the thought that Naruto still didn't trust her enough to tell her all of his secrets. But before she could think of some kind of solution on how she should confront Naruto into telling her and being apologetic about not trusting her, Naruto raised a hand so that his arms made a 90-degree angle and whispered loud enough so everyone heard him. Stop! Someone's here. Hinata quickly shook herself out of her thoughts and looked around at their position. They were still on their path, but the scenery had changed. The town was gone. On one side of the road, there was a forest lining it that seemed to stretch as far as the road did. On the other side, there was a huge hill covered with long grass that swayed under the gentle breeze. Naturally, everyone turned toward the tree line. If there was someone here and they weren't already noticeable, then they were hiding in the trees. But Hinata noticed in the corner of her eye that Naruto wasn't facing the trees. He was facing the hill where no one could hide effectively unless they were blind to them as well. After a few moments, everyone noticed the same thing Hinata did and turned around. A boy not much older than them, except Jiraiya, came walking over the cliff. They could tell by his face that he was about their age. Actually, that was all they could see. The boy slowly took his time over the hill, so his face was the only thing visible to the ninja team right now. When the boy finally got over the cliff and revealed the rest of his body, everyone except Naruto gasped. The boy had on armor similar to Naruto's, except he wore no helmet. Naruto clenched his teeth as he glared with rage that in the middle of the boy's chest was unmistakably a power core like his. As if the boy had just noticed the ninjas, he looked up in surprise. But this look didn't last as it was replaced with a smile that wasn't exactly cheery. So you're Iron Man's apprentice, he said with a scary amount of enthusiasm and creepy laughing. Naruto's eyes widened for a moment until he saw the boy's arms, or to be exact, his appendages on his arms. They looked like whips that were coiled up around a small structure protruding out of the boy's armor's arm. They seemed to be made of rubber except the tip was metal. Naruto knew exactly where he saw those before, and I assume you're acquainted with whiplash. The boy nodded so furiously that it almost seemed like his head would fly off his neck. Naruto thought what anybody else would think. This boy was either crazy or on drugs, maybe both. The boy started to laugh again. My master had thought that Tony Stark had someone in the elemental countries, so he sent me here to take care of him. Master, but I thought your master had blown himself up to defeat Tony. Naruto asked, still unsure about the boy's mental stability. The boy shook his finger. Sorry, but that's a top secret. Secret. The boy said this laughing to himself as if saying a word to describe a word tickled him. The boy suddenly stopped laughing and stared at Naruto. Goodbye, Iron Man's apprentice, he simply said as he pushed a button on his arm. Metal pieces shot up out of the armor's collar line and split into more pieces. This repeated until the pieces conjoined together at different locations, forming a rough and crude-looking helmet. Naruto, as he saw the helmet form, equipped his armor and immediately shot a charge at him. The boy just lifted his hand up and let the charge hit his armored hand. Naruto couldn't believe what happened next. The charge stopped in midair in the boy's palm and was absorbed into the armor. Then suddenly, the whips glowed bluish-yellow and shot forward. Naruto lifted an arm up in defense and blocked successfully. Or so he thought until the whip sent an electrical current through him, making him yell in pain. On the sidelines, Hinata saw this and started to step forward to help her fiancé, but Shikamaru and Jiraiya took hold of her arms and held on. Let go, she shouted. This is also not the best route you should take, little girl. Jiraiya said. Yeah, you touch Naruto, you'll be electrocuted as well, said Shikamaru. Hinata opened her mouth to argue, but couldn't find any ground to argue on, so she watched painfully as Naruto's body was coursed through with electricity. The other two former sound ninjas stood still. In their minds, the faster he dies, the faster they don't need to deal with him. Naruto finally moved his arm, moving the whip away from his body. But inside the armor, things were getting worse. Systems rebooting, said CECI. Naruto gritted his teeth in frustration as he realized that the electricity restarted his armor. He won't be able to shoot again until his armor was back online. But it seemed it didn't matter. The boy shot his other whip across and it went around Naruto and grabbed him. Then Naruto was pulled toward the boy. Naruto felt each punch from the boy smash into only the armored parts of his body. But he also felt the armor cracking under the force of the punches. He could only watch because at the same time the boy shot electricity through him again. At the end of the boy's barrage of punches, Naruto could see the boy pull back his fist and smash it into his helmet. Naruto flew and landed with a pained grunt as some of his armor was bent in and slightly pierced his back. To his relief, he heard, "Systems rebooted and online." Naruto grinned, time for payback, but then, warning, armor 98% damaged, unable to move. Naruto clenched his fist again and felt enraged when he saw the boy standing there, laughing his ass off. CECI, do I have any weapons I can use outside the armor? He asked hopefully. There was a brief silence, but it felt like forever until CECI replied. There are two hidden weapons. One is hidden in your mechanical arm and one is hidden in your mechanical leg. Naruto was confused. How did he have weapons on those? He never modified it. But then he realized that someone had. Damn it, old man. I thought I said no modifications without my okay. But in the inside, Naruto was glad he did. Okay, CECI, activate those hidden weapons. Error, unable to activate. What, why? Armor 2 damaged, movement impossible, use of weapons unavailable. Naruto grinded his teeth again in frustration, but then he came up with an idea. He didn't like it, but what choice did he have? CECI, unequip armor now. Understood. Warning, transformation not detected. Sorry, CECI, but if they saw those hidden weapons come out of nowhere, I'll still have to show them, so let's just unequip. Unequipping now. There was a bright flash as his armor glowed white and receded back into the power core. Everyone except Hinata gasped as they saw his mechanical limbs and the gear sticking out of his head. It was the boy that spoke first. What the fuck happened to you? Naruto lifted his arm up and activated the hidden weapon. Little curved blades popped out, all aligned from his elbow to his wrist. Then they started to spin. Shit happened. Naruto replied. Hidden chainsaw activated. Said CECI, every day was so boring to Shikamaru. Nothing changed. He would sleep as long as he could until his mother came in, shouting as if there was a war going on. He would get dressed and leave for a team meeting. No matter what, he could always predict what was going to happen. Having a high IQ didn't always give you benefits. That's why he enjoyed looking at the clouds. No matter what he did, they were always unpredictable. Plus, they seemed really comfortable to lie upon. Nothing ever surprised him, until today, that is. Shikamaru watched with wide eyes as sharp blades ran along Naruto's arm and disappeared into his elbow, only to reappear at his wrist. He had seen some similar things like that, but the blades were dull and it was 4 times as big. This was beyond what he could predict. Naruto had once again surprised him. The first was when he defeated Hyuga Neji, and even then Naruto did something beyond his calculations. He shook his head. This wasn't the time to be watching with his mouth agape. He noticed that Naruto didn't activate this until now. When he looked, he was in trouble. This either meant he forgot about it, or that was his last resort. If it was the latter, he had to be ready in case Naruto can't beat that strange boy. Anyways, it seemed Naruto was running out of tricks. As if Naruto heard his mind, he flickered out of sight and reappeared, his metal arm crashing into the side of the boy's neck. There was a grinding sound and the shouts of the boy. Naruto held on as the boy constantly hit his metal arm, which produced no results except for a couple of dents. Then the sound of the grinding stopped and was replaced with the sound of cutting flesh. And screaming, lots of screaming. The boy's arms beat upon Naruto's arm even more furiously than before as blood, skin, muscle, and pieces of tendons, ligaments went spewing out as the blades dug into his neck. Naruto knew that if he continued, he would kill the boy and cut through the jugular. However, the boy's hits were not wasted. Naruto's arm had started to have more dents in it than the amount of wrinkles the old man Hawkage had. Funny, I have time to think about other people when I might die any minute now. CECI, Naruto called. I need that second weapon now. Understood. Weapon concealed in crevice where the gastrocnemius would originally be in your prosthetic leg. Releasing weapon. Naruto ripped his arm out of the boy's neck and jumped back. He watched as plates that seemed to resemble the two parts of the calf muscle moved to the sides and a small rod was pushed out. Naruto reached back and grabbed it. It was very peculiar, not a weapon he has ever seen before. It was a silver rod that was hollow at both ends and filled in the center. On the surface were 3 buttons. Naruto quickly pushed one of the buttons and waited for the activation of the weapon. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3. CECI, why is this not working? You did not correctly activate. You must incoming projectile. Naruto was able to look up briefly from his weapon to see a whip heading his way. He rolled to his side and raised his dented arm to shoot. But just then the other whip wrapped around his hand and started to pull him toward the boy. He tried to resist, but he was tired and losing. Crap, if I don't think of something soon, I'm going to die, thought Naruto as he looked for anything that could help. He suddenly went backwards and fell on the ground. The whip stopped pulling. He looked at the boy who had a confused and panicked look on his face. What's going on? I can't move. Shadow Posesian Jutsu successful, said Shikamaru, his hands relaxing from the hand seal. He stood up and let all his muscles relax, just like he expected. The whip relaxed as well. You bastard, let me go, the boy yelled, struggling to get out. Naruto, hit him now, ordered Shikamaru. Naruto nodded and said to CECI, how do I activate the weapon? Each button releases a different type of energy weapon. However, to activate it, you must add energy, both chakra and electrical, to it. Naruto thanked CECI and did what she said. He pressed the same button again and a bright blue energy blade popped out. It hummed with energy and little sparks jumped all over it. He smiled at the power his new toy was emitting. Naruto, shouted Shikamaru. Naruto's head jumped up and saw the boy almost out of the jutsu. Naruto immediately ran toward him and got ready to decapitate him. He's going to win. Of course, he didn't. The boy broke out of the technique at the last second and with a roar smashed his whip into Naruto's face. Naruto stumbled to his side a bit, dropping his weapon due to him being disoriented from the hit to the temple. I have had enough. Die, bastard. The boy screamed at the top of his lungs before stabbing Naruto before he could stand straight. Naruto knew he was in trouble. His armor was for kunais and shurikens, not another armor's attack. The whip sliced into his heart and burst out his back. Naruto coughed up blood, his vision growing dark. He thought he could hear Hinata cry his name in the background. In his armor, CECI noticed a disturbance. Warning, seal around Biju seal breaking. Biju attempting to leak corrupted energy into system, taking precautions. Negative, corrupted chakra too strong. Attempts fail, seal destroyed. Outside in the real world, the boy was laughing as he threw the defeated Naruto to the ground. I don't care how many tricks you have, you still can't beat me. Hinata attempted to run over where her fiancé was, but Jiraiya held her back. Wait, don't go, it's too dangerous. She tried to squirm out of his grip, yelling, let me go. Naruto-kun is in trouble, let me go. But Jiraiya's hold didn't loosen. Hinata felt tears run down her face as she increased her futile attempts to break out of the man's grip. That's when she felt it. To her, everyone has a different feel of chakra. It can tell a lot about a person. Like Shikamaru's chakra always seemed slow and lethargic. Naruto's chakra felt like a wall. The amount that he had was near Hawkage level. It was as if he was trying to be a shield for everyone. But this chakra was nothing like she ever felt. It gave off so many dark feelings. The owner of that chakra was evil. The chakra felt like it wanted to kill, massacre, rape, dismember, burn, and mutilate all at the same time, and not just one person, but everyone it met. She froze as the chakra washed over her. She shakily looked at the source and was shocked. Naruto, her idol and crush, was the one emitting the chakra. She nearly cried out as a red chakra started to cover his body, but adding to her surprise, the wound that boy made was healing. It closed up, leaving none of it behind. There wasn't even any scar tissue. Naruto clutched his head in pain. He heard 3 voices inside. One was his. Another was CECI, at least he hoped. She was saying something. It was like, corruption 1%. And that other voice, where had he heard that voice before? But he couldn't remember. The headache was too painful. He felt like the entire world was on the side of his head, crushing it. Then he passed out. A huge wave of the red chakra exploded from Naruto, sending everyone flying a few feet. The boy managed to land on his feet but fell backwards. He struggled to get up and managed to get into a sitting position. His eyes widened at the scene. The fuck? That ninja was there, the one with the robotic parts. But he was covered in some type of red energy. It looked like a fox. His eyes were red and slitted. In Naruto, CECI said, corruption 11%. But he didn't have time to get over his surprise. Two more tails came out, one on each side of the first. Corruption 31%. The boy stood up and yelled, I told you already, I don't care how many tricks you have, it's still going to end the same. He was sure he could still beat him, until a fourth tail came out. Naruto's skin was lacerated with little cuts all over his body. The red chakra expanded into a sphere as his skin began to rip off. The sphere grew dark from the malevolent chakra and Naruto's blood. What the boy saw after the sphere dissipated nearly made him shit his pants. A red fox made of blood and red chakra with four tails stood there growling at him. He shook in fear as his scanners began to pick up energy that went off the charts. A couple sparks jumped over the four-tailed fox that were an eerie red. He clenched his fist. No, fuck you. I'm not going to lose from someone like you. I'll kill you. He shot out a whip only for it to stop when it hit the fox's blood-red hide. No damage, the boy thought. Before he could formulate a plan, the fox suddenly lashed his claw out. His arm lengthened so that it could reach the boy. It hit him in the shoulder and two things happened. One, the armor broke around where he was hit, cracks going up his arm in piece. Two, he found himself flying from the hit. He landed hard on the dirt. He managed to get up even with the pain in his arm. He was angry. Iron Man's apprentice was kicking his ass. He wanted to lash out with his whip again, but one of his channels opened up and a voice came through. Enough, Nazo, you can't beat him, the voice said. But whiplash, sir, he was cut off. No, I said enough. Retreat for now. We have all the data we need. His hand clenched in anger again. Fine, sir. He then left the fox, who happened to be preoccupied with something else, and started running back. Jiraiya cursed. For the seal to let out four tails of the Kyuubi's chakra was bad and meant something. Either the seal has been getting worse than he thought, which was highly unlikely since Naruto wasn't able to use its chakra last time he saw him, or it's been tampered with. Whether it was for good intentions or bad didn't matter. What mattered was if someone didn't do something, this part for 100 miles was doomed, and if the seal got worse. Luckily, he was afraid of this when Orochimaru put the five-pronged seal on him and made his own seal that should suppress the Kyuubi's chakra for a little bit. It was a simple seal that would absorb any chakra leaked out, including the Kyuubi's, while using that chakra to activate another seal. It was a double-layered seal that he created. The other seal would then place a six-pronged seal on top of his. If it worked, the Kyuubi's chakra shouldn't be able to get out. The new seal might wear out due to the constant battering from the Bijuu's chakra, but hopefully he could do something about it then. But first, he had to stop the Kyuubi Naruto from moving. He looked at the group to see who could help. Hinata was too much in shock to help. Shikamaru wasn't as surprised for some reason. The other two were barely affected. Seems Orochimaru may have done some training to them, but from what he read on the mission briefing, they are genjutsu specialists. Not useful on someone who lost their mind to an evil beast. So who to choose? You, Nara, can you use your shadow possession jutsu on Naruto? Shikamaru looked over, a glint of fear evident in his eyes. Maybe. But as of how Naruto is right now, I'm not so sure how long I can hold him. Just give a couple of seconds. All right, Shikamaru got on one knee and made his clan's hand seal. Shadow possession jutsu. His shadow shot out and met with Kyuubi Naruto's shadow. It instantly froze. Shikamaru immediately yelled out, "Do it now. I can't hold it for much longer." As if to prove him, the Kyuubi Naruto swung his arm down momentarily before being frozen again. It let out a huge roar. Jiraiya ran over and took out his seal. He nearly had a heart attack when the Kyuubi Naruto swung his head to look at him before freezing again. He slapped the seal on the stomach and jumped back. The effect was instantaneous. All the chakra began to recede into the seal as a new seal formed. When the chakra was off his head and arms, they all gasped at Naruto's condition. His skin was gone. Naruto fell to the ground, blood spilling everywhere, but no one ran over. Everyone but Jiraiya was still shaken from what just happened. What is this? A voice yelled out. Jiraiya looked at the source and was surprised and relived to see Tsunade. He yelled, "Tsunade, we need your help. You have to heal this boy." Tsunade stood still. Oh wait, crap, Tsunade's still afraid of blood. Then he saw her apprentice come up. You heal him before he bleeds out. Shizune being surprised would be an understatement, but she ran over and began healing Naruto and recovering his skin. This isn't good, she said. What is it? Asked the white-haired Sannin. I can heal his skin, but he's lost a lot of blood. He needs a hospital now. Jiraiya nodded before taking one look at the boy, who seemed to have trouble just breathing, and stood up and made some seals. Cuchios no justu, he called out before slamming his palm on the ground. A giant toad poofed into existence. Jiraiya told his group to get on and picked up Naruto. He looked at Shizune and Tsunade. I don't know why you're here, but if it has something to do with Naruto, you best come with. Shizune nodded and grabbed her frozen Shishu's hand and pulled her to the giant animal. Everyone was inside the Naruto's hospital room, all looking at Jiraiya for an explanation. Jiraiya sighed. Why did something like this have to turn out into something so difficult? He explained it all to the group, all about the Kyuubi. Tsunade and Shizune were just shocked by the fact that it was this boy. Everyone else was appalled by the description of the beatings. They were surprised as well, but they seemed to care more about the boy than he thought. Besides that, I don't know what happened or what those metal things are. I think they might be armor on his arm and leg, and the rest just broke or something. Jiraiya said, tapping on the metal. No, Hinata whispered, drawing everyone's attention. Oh, did Naruto tell you what these are? Asked the male Sannin. She nodded, and she hesitated. Was it okay to tell them this? But she felt like they needed to know, especially the one that caused all this. It isn't armor, they're prosthetics. Prosthetics? Why would the boy need prosthetics? Asked Shizune, repeating Jiraiya's action on the metal. Jiraiya began sweating. Wait, it wasn't because of that, was it? Hinata pointed a finger to Jiraiya. Because that man threw him off a cliff. All surprised eyes turned to Jiraiya, who was sweating even more. His arms and legs were torn to shreds, and his head took the impact. He would have died except Naruto's new teacher saved him and made him these prosthetics and the suit you saw before. He's responsible for doing this to him. She said angrily. That's enough, Hinata. Everyone turned to the voice. Naruto-kun, Hinata said quietly, surprised. Naruto did a little stretch before looking at the Sannin. He may have caused all this, and I do hate him for that. Jiraiya winced. But without him, I'd never meet Tony, who I actually have to talk to right now. He attempted to stand up, but Tsunade pushed him back down. Oh no, you don't. You need rest. And when did you become suddenly qualified to be a medical person? Naruto said, pushing her hands off him. Hinata went over to him. I agree with Tsunade-sama here, you need rest. Naruto grumbled but complied. But I'm still talking with Tony now. He made a few one-handed seals and pointed his palm toward the wall across from him. A seal appeared, creating a digital portal. A 45 TV screen came out of it and placed itself on the wall. He made another portal from which a remote came out. He pointed it at the TV screen and pressed a few buttons. In a few seconds, life appeared on the screen. It showed an empty chair, but soon a man occupied it. It was Tony, but he had bloodshot eyes. He grumbled. I thought I told you I was busy, so don't contact me. Did something happen or something? Naruto glared at Tony, and he immediately sat upright, realizing something did happen and it was not good. Don't tell me that you don't know. I just got attacked by someone that called himself Whiplash's apprentice. You mind explaining? Tony's red eyes widened in surprise. No, that's not possible. Whiplash, he died, I saw him. Naruto was surprised as well. Wait, if you're not fighting Whiplash, what were you doing? Well, you see. A voice came out from outside the screen. Tony, I'm going to press resume if you don't come now. We have to finish our Mortal Kombat tournament. A tick mark appeared on Naruto's forehead. While I risked my life and nearly died, you were playing MK. He yelled. Well, you see. No, I don't see, just know. I thought I should tell you about Whiplash and that I'm making a new suit. What's wrong with your old armor? It's not strong enough. It can withstand kunais and maybe some jutsu, but not against Whiplash and his apprentice. Tony sighed. Fine, just send me the blueprint when you're done. I'll check it for you. And again, no. You guys keep adding stuff I don't know about, so this time it is a solo project. Goodbye. Before Tony could say anything, Hinata went into the screen. Tony nearly jumped back at the sudden entrance of the girl. Hinata bowed and said, Thank you so much for saving Naruto. If it wasn't for you, he wouldn't be here today. Tony was surprised at the thanks but returned a smile. Don't mention it, and who might you be? She stood back up. I'm Hyuga Hinata, fiancé of your apprentice. Tony's eyes bugged out. Naruto called out behind her, power off now. Why, Tony managed to say before the screen went blank. Naruto ignored the questioning looks on everyone's but Hinata's face and said, Well, It seems I need to go shopping for materials. And clothes, yours was destroyed in the fight. And clothes, meet you back home, guys. He activated his suit and jumped out the window. Jiraiya turned to Tsunade. And we have something to discuss as well, Heim. Tsunade groaned. This was going to be a long day. That's all for now. If you enjoy, then please like, share, and do comments.